comment for this item.
Okay. I'm declaring the public hearing closed, and I will have Councilman Enriquez speak.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, I just want to remind folks, my last name is Enriquez with a Z at the end. And I want to just give first a thank you to our staff for their hard work over the last 10, 12 months. And I'm really thankful to our city manager. We had a good conversation before we voted on the ordinance last month on December 16th. And I'm happy the way it worked out because we're able to stagger the ordinance to understand the meat of it. We had a good discussion here at council on the December 16th, and then to understand now the fee schedule, as our staff member just alluded to and shared, that this is in alignment with state law. So what state law does is they provide a fee schedule up to certain amounts based on each offense. What we did is we actually lowered the Section 8 list from the initial first offense of violation down to the repeated failure to comply. And if you see the statewide initial general recommendation of up to, through community feedback over the last 10, 11 months, we actually were able to lower some of them because people made their voices heard for this citywide ordinance. When we had our town halls, while it was at District 4, we invited the entire community. I know I saw representatives from all the districts come to make their voice heard as we worked with our staff to make that happen. So I just want to paint that picture as to what occurred and the accurate information. And then also the feedback of the park maintenance fee, the $60. There are other cities that their park maintenance fees, if they do provide them, can go up to $100 to $200. We also know that while we are investing more in infrastructure in parks, we also know that we have limitations to our budget. So if you're going to be there 8, 10 hours street vending, making your business, that's great. But we also have to realize the damage it causes on the grass and the constant use of being there to do your business. So we, in the last week, we've done our part to slowly start educating, as I promised, and I've committed to let vendors know throughout the city. I'm one of 7, I'm only one person, but it takes all of us to educate our neighbors about what this ordinance entails. And then to some folks who've asked, the ordinance will officially kick off this Friday, January 16th. Our staff has said numerous times it is complaint-based. It's not they're gonna spend their energy looking every single second of the day to try to find something that's not in alignment with code enforcement. So I just want to say that again, but again, I think these fee schedule is in alignment, and if you look at what the state is, there are sections that are lower than what's proposed statewide. So I think this is a fantastic second edition as we stagger this ordinance, and then again, preparing the community to avoid these offenses. If you're doing what you need to pay your business license fee, which I know our staff have shared that they've already updated the application as of today, with the fees and removing the criminal background checks because of state law. So that was a requirement of state law to remove that. So instead of paying $400 or $500, that's now reduced down to $138 on the city side, and then the additional for the county side. So we'll be sure as a city, and I know I talked with our city manager, that we'll be providing a checklist, providing a section for our city website in terms of the fees and the step-by-step of what you have to do from the city to the county, and then you have your license. So I'll stop there, but again, I want to thank the mayor and this council and our staff for just the overview and the updated fee schedule.
Okay. Any other council members have a comment? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, now we are moving on to new business. We have 3 vacancies that we need to fill, this council, so I am going to turn it over to the city clerk. 16.1 is for the Civil Service Commission.
Good evening, council members. As you all know, you've already received the interviews and applications for all the applicants today. We're going to be doing ranked voting, and ranked voting means that the person you like the best for this position is going to get the most points. You're only selecting 2 people, so the person you feel is the best fit for the position, you're going to give them a 2. Your second pick, you're going to give a 1. So again, your best pick 2, your second pick a 1. Once you've determined who you want to give your 2 and your 1 to, go ahead and fold your ballot, pass it on down, and then I'll go ahead and read out the vote. Just civil service to start. Okay, for Councilmember Padilla, we have Danielle Bowden, 1, and Jahari Williams, 2. For Councilmember Ponce, we have Danielle Bowden, 1, and Jahari Williams, 2. For Councilmember Blower, we have Sheila Ward Shaw, 1, and Jahari Williams, 2. For Councilmember Enriquez, we have Portia Jackson, 1, and Sheila Ward Shaw, 2. For Councilmember Villapadua, we have Sheila Ward Shaw, 1, and Jahari Williams, 2. For Vice Mayor Lee, we have Sheila Ward Shaw, 2, and Jahari Williams, 1. And for Mayor Fugazi, we have Danielle Bowden, 1, and Jahari Williams, 2. If council agrees with the decision, which is Jahari Williams at 11, I need a motion and a second, and then a vote.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Please vote. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations to Jahari Williams. Quick question before we go into the next one. Everybody will be given the creed and the council policy.
Absolutely. Whenever
Okay.
they come for orientation, they receive the whole kit.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, moving on then to the next one. It is the appointment to the San Joaquin Regional Transit District Board, and I'm assuming we'll do the same thing as we did
Exact
for
same
the last one.
procedure.
Okay.
Number 1 pick gets a 2, number 2 pick gets a 1. Not confusing at all. For Councilmember Padilla, Derek Graves is a 2. Balwinder Singh, 1. For Councilmember Ponce, Kyle Espiritu, 1, and Derek Graves, 2. For Councilmember Blower, Derek Graves, 1, Balwinder Singh, 2. For Councilmember Enriquez, Derek Graves, 1, and Balwinder Singh, 2. For Councilmember Villapadua, Derek Graves, 2, Balwinder Singh, 1. For Vice Mayor Lee, Kyle Espiritu, 1, and Balwinder Singh, 2. Oh. So Derek Graves, yeah, there we go. And then Balwinder Singh has the 2. And then Mayor Fugazi, Derek Graves, 2, and Balwinder Singh 1. So the results have Derek Graves at the top. If council concurs, I need a motion, second, and a vote.
Motion to approve.
We have several motions and seconds. Council, please vote. The motion is adopted, and Derek Graves will be on RTD. Okay, so now moving on to 16.3, Port Commission.
Same procedure. Okay, for Councilmember Padilla, Gregory Page 2, Jacqueline Smith Ratliff 1. For Councilmember Ponce, Stephen Larson 1, Gregory Page 2. For Councilmember Blower, Gregory Page 2, Joshua Renwick 1. For Councilmember Enriquez, Joshua Renwick 1, Jacqueline Smith Ratliff 2. For Councilmember Villapadua, Stephen Larson 1, Gregory Page 2. For Vice Mayor Lee, Gregory Page 2, Joshua Renwick 1. And for Mayor Fugazi, Gregory Page 2, and Joshua Renwick 1. Council concurs. Motion vote.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion carries 7-0. And I just want to thank everybody who applied. I know that we work very hard to make sure that we have individuals who want to serve this city in this capacity. So thank you to everyone, and go to work. Okay, we're going to take a quick 10-minute recess before we come back. So let's come back at 7:40. 7:40. Okay?
In the heart of Port City, where the waves crash loud, voices rise unbroken, standing tall and proud. No filters, no chains, we say what we feel. Truth hits like the water, so fierce and real. From the docks to the streets, we dive deep and bold. Stories untold, controversies unfold. Port City uncensored, let the words run free. No question of limits, no opinion banned. You see, we champion the bold, the wild, the unchained speech. Tune in now, join the fight. Is within reach. Truth is within reach.
let's begin. Desire is power. Turn it up loud. You wanna be great. Say it out loud. Desire is power. Feel it take hold. If you burn for the crown, then the crown is yours to hold. Clock keeps on ticking. Voices all telling you wait. Why be a watcher when you were built to create? You got that heartbeat hitting like kicks in your chest. Each little wish that you feed turns to a wild protest. Desire is power. Turn it up loud. You wanna be great. Stand up now. Desire is power. Feel it take hold. If you burn for the crown, then the crown is yours to hold. Hands up high, claim your sky, say I want more. Hear that roar when you move with your one. Every step is a spark. Every yes in the day lights up the dark. I want it, you got it, I need it, unlock it. You feel it, then rock it. Let it drive you, don't stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. Desire is power. Turn it up loud. You wanna be great. Stand up now. Desire is power. Feel it take hold. If you burn for the crown, then the crown is yours to hold.
Step to the edge, I don't fall fast. Heart too loud, too damn alive. Death blink first every time. Death on my line, I don't call back. Pressure hit hard, I absorb that. Still right here, still don't hide. Death blink first every time. Rewind. To fade out. Just to feel the flame. Stand so close to the fallout. You gotta remember my name. They talk loud, I talk loud. Turn bad nights into gunpowder. Every scar got a barcode. Skin still alive, still feel. Death on my line, I don't call back. Step to the edge, I don't fall fast. Heart too loud, too damn alive. Death blink first every time. Death on my line, I don't call back. Pressure hit hard, I absorb that. Still right here, still don't hide. Death blink first every time. I laugh when the sirens sing, and I move on my chest. Drag me under the noise. I stand in and out impressed. I don't pray for escape routes. I make exits out of collapse. If this ends, it ends later. Not tonight, not fast. I've been down on the shore.
You came in late, cold on your shoulders, laugh in your eyes, like you already knew me. Hands on my waist, soft as a Sunday. You said my name, like you've been waiting all day. Hold me in this moment. Don't let the night turn cold. Keep your heartbeat on my shoulder, like a secret that we told. If tomorrow tries to shake us, let it come and let it go. Hold me in this moment, that's all I need to know. Coffee gone cold, record still spinning, your head on my chest, counting the spaces between. Streetcar rolls past, you hum along. We're a quiet little choir inside a half-faded dawn. We ain't got plans, just that slow dancing silence and the weight of your hand. If the world starts asking questions, baby, we can take it slow. Just stay right here, right now. Please don't ever let me go.
Woke up this morning, badge on my chest, sirens are wailing, no time for rest. Patrolling these streets in the big city lights, but the city's playing games, denying our rights. Got them no contract blues, working every day, risking my life for that same old pay. Mayor talking tough, union standing tall, cops got no deal at all. Chasing down trouble from dawn until dusk. Bullets are flying in the force we trust. They want more from us, but won't give what's due. Overtime stacking morale, feeling blue. Got them no contract blues, working every day, risking my life for that same old. Talking tough, union standing tall, big city cops got no deal at all. We hold the line when the night gets mean, keep this town safe, keep it clean. But the suits downtown just stall and delay while we suit up and work without fair pay. How long must we wait in vain for a handshake deal in this pouring rain? Negotiations drag promising, but nothing appears. We keep the peace in this concrete jungle wild, but without a fair contract, it's driving us wild. Got them no contract blues, working every day, risking my life for that same old pay. Mayor talking tough, union standing tall, big city cops got no deal at all. No contract blues. Contract blues. Big city cops, no deal at all.
It's 2 a.m. You text, you up. I stare, I type. Then I delete what I want. Half eating fries on the passenger seat. Your hoodie folded next to my receipts. You play that tough, say you done for real, but you still scroll just to see how I feel. We break up in the morning. By midnight, we back involved. We keep inventing problems we don't really want resolved. Oh, you only call on the night shift. Doubt me up on your price lips. Say you
So I'm calling the meeting back to order.
like it. You
If we can have the meeting come back to order. If we can have the meeting come back to order, thank you. So we are going to go out of order on this. We are going to go 16.5, 16.6, and then 16.4. Okay? So 16.5, adopt a resolution declaring Stockton a compassionate city.
All right. Well, hello, colleagues. It's great to be on this side. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I have been waiting months and months to have this discussion, so I'm happy that we are now here. Before we start, I just want to just give an overview and just kind of break down any misinformation that we have heard online, maybe conversations that we've seen and heard about what a compassionate city resolution is, how we got to this point, and the evolution of it. Despite national news and what's happening across the country over the last 12 months, but also here in Stockton, we know what's been happening. I want to thank the advocates and the community organizers who have been educating our community about not just knowing your rights, but also for those that have physically been at the ICE facility, which is in my district at 603 San Juan Avenue. So that has been something that I have gone to there myself numerous times, thanks to the support of my constituents who have let me know and informed me. But this discussion is really about compassion. It's about dignity, and it's about respect. This is what this city stands for. This is what we continue to show who we are as a community. But with everything going on, there's a lot of fear that's created. I want to say for the record that no human being is illegal. Every time I hear language like that, it's harmful to our communities. It's disrespectful when those words are used in this city hall and these chambers and out in the community. So I ask you, implore you, educate yourself. Talk to your neighbors in a 46% Latino city. And as we love to brag, we are the most, if not one of the most diverse cities in America. So we have to be able to understand and listen to our different lived experiences and who we are as a community. Overall, for agenda purposes, I want to give some background as to what a compassionate city resolution is and how that differs from a sanctuary city ordinance. Sanctuary city versus compassionate city, delving a little bit into California Senate Bill 54, which is in law right now and we've had for quite some years. The compassionate city model that we took this from Union City and tenants, but primarily from Union City in the Bay Area, and of course the recommendation. Just some background, through the Ledge Committee as chair, I want to thank the mayor again for appointing me as chair of Ledge. Myself, Councilwoman Padilla, and Vice Mayor Lee had some good discussions, and I want to thank Alex, who on staff has done immense research and talked personally with the council members of Union City. We met on August 25th, 2025, and I want to paint that picture really quick, is that this isn't a reaction. This didn't just come up in the last 7 days, last couple, this year alone, because the misinformation has been what happened in Minneapolis. Now, city of Stockton all of a sudden cares about immigration. Now, all of a sudden, they're saying something because they're worried about what's happening in another state. That is far from the truth. Since August, we have been working diligently on this compassionate city resolution. We met twice as a LEDGE committee. That was an opportunity, and I asked you all to look through the minutes where we have asked questions to staff, making sure that it is different. We've asked questions that it's not going to impede on our federal resource dollars. It's not going to utilize any city resources. It's not going to impact our budget. But at the same time, we have to say something. This last year alone, I have been the only elected official in this region, for the most part, that has said something on this topic. Because I don't know about my other colleagues, but I hear left and right from the scared neighbors who say, Mario, what are we going to do? Is it going to happen here? And then I hear other stories of, it's already happening. What are we actually doing? What information is being put out there to help ease our community? And I want to thank our police officers, and especially our chief, because he was brave enough to stand up and put out a press release early last year saying that they're not going to utilize their resources to engage or support ICE because their resources are for the people of Stockton, and that's the priority. So to ensure that we are in alignment, just like we were in alignment with the street vendors with state law, we need to be in alignment with state law and also be in alignment with our police officers and our county sheriff, who has also said he's not going to engage with ICE because, again, his resources are for our community and our region. We want to be in compliance with Senate Bill 54. City of Stockton stance, again, we want to be in alignment, but also having something codified on the books because we need to say something. If we're silent and the community looks at our elected leaders and we're not saying anything, that creates distrust. It creates a fear of what are our elected leaders doing if something was to happen. But we already know the truth. We already know that things are happening in our neighborhoods. We already know of not just the ICE facility, but our neighbors being taken away, and the next day we know that they didn't come back. I know that in early December, 2 fathers woke up at 5 in the morning on private property in their homes to get ready to work. Actual footage of ICE taking them. A couple weeks later, I asked that property owner, hey, did those 2 fathers come back? And mind you, no criminal background, and she said they didn't come back. Yet, all of a sudden, nobody knows about it. Things are happening, so we can't put a blind eye and pretend that this isn't happening because it's happening whether you like it or not. And that is the reality. But at the bare minimum, this city council, we together as a united front can make a statement. Put it out on paper to say we are utilizing our resources for our community. We're building trust. We're working, we're continuing the great relationship with our police officers. And part of that as electeds is to listen. Actively listen, and we had community conversations on immigration. I want to thank Alicia from the United Farm Workers, who organized an educational town hall late summer and invited regional elected leaders to come in and listen. I know Mayor Arreola, then Mayor of Lodi came out. We had electeds from all over every level of government to come out and to understand about what the farm workers are dealing with when we think about our economy and the loss of dollars that we're facing if we're not truly supporting our community. So we had those 2 community conversations, one at Yosemite Street Village on November 25th, and then the second part was via Zoom. Both of them had an average of 50 community members that expressed their concern about whether they're from a mixed status family themselves, they know someone that's undocumented, and again, not understanding about what elected leadership is doing for them. And of course, this was also something that came up, a similar resolution that Stockton did on February 21st, 2017. And despite national politics, we all know what that first spring of 2017 was for our country. Again, beyond politics, but we know the facts and we know who was in office at every level of government at that time. And this city council had leadership and stood up and put out a resolution, not as maybe as specific around immigration like this one, but it still talks about humanity and people and justice, and despite who we are as a people. And I was grateful that then Councilwoman Fugazi was also part of the 7-0 vote for that resolution. So a lot of language is similar then, And again, we want to hone in on our immigrant community because, again, there's a lot of fear happening right now here in Stockton and in San Joaquin County. And then also the Compassionate City resolution was brought up again, as I mentioned, with Union City, but I had the opportunity to get to know Councilmember Jaime Patiño. And what was really interesting, and for those that don't know, is that we both come from the different wide spectrums of the political spectrum. And the fact that while he may not agree with me politically, he was the one that created this Compassionate City resolution. I met him through the Water Education for Latino Leaders program, and through those trips, every single time I saw him once a month for 6 months, I asked him questions. How did you do this resolution? How did it come about? How did it impact your city after you created it and it passed unanimously? What have been the challenges for almost the last 10 years that this has been in law? They passed it in 2017, so it's been about 9 years. But since then, nothing negative has impacted their city. And I think that's the great thing about a Compassionate City resolution. It's a very clearly defined resolution that not every city is doing in America. If passed tonight, we would likely be one of two, if not one of three cities in America that has a resolution like this. And that is why I thought that this was one of the best ways that we can go about to really break down the misinformation that we've been hearing. Just an overview, Senate Bill 54 is its own law. We're not here to engage or change state law. We aren't state legislators, but at the local level, we acknowledge and know that Senate Bill 54 is the California Values Act that is specific about protecting immigrant communities, enhancing access to services, and promoting public safety, which is something that we all care about. We all want our families to feel safe, no matter what, and that is something that our police has been doing so good at, and what they've been doing and what they continue to do. And that statement that they put out just reaffirms that we also agree with our police officers and the county. Key provisions of SB 54, that's again a statewide sanctuary law that limits law enforcement cooperation. It restricts on information sharing. It has no holds or extra jail time, prohibitions on task forces, and impact on institutions. There's the 5 basics of SB 54. I encourage you all to look more into it, but again, that is state law. That is different from what we are trying to do today. Again, breaking down misinformation, a sanctuary city versus a compassionate city. A sanctuary city has a direct challenge to ICE. They are directly impeding what ICE is doing. A city that limits cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. A compassionate city, a welcoming city, is a city that aims to be welcoming and supportive of immigrants and all residents. Primary focus, a sanctuary city restricts local law enforcement's involvement in federal immigration enforcement to protect immigrant communities from deportation. The compassionate city creates a general supportive environment for immigrants through a wide range of programs and services. The city services. Our intention is to help our people. Key policies. Sanctuary city often involves prohibiting city resources from being used to enforce federal immigration laws, again, the impeding part. But for our resolution, which is not an ordinance, policies may include providing social services, legal assistance, and other resources, but aren't necessarily focused on limiting the cooperation with federal authorities. The federal authorities have their job. They are doing what they have to do. We are not impeding any federal agency, which is listed on the attachment and it's listed on the resolution. And of course, the relationship to federal law. Our focus is on local support, with no inherent conflict or limitation of federal cooperation being the primary goal. And just overall key objectives is that we want to, again, foster trust. We want to be engaged with our community, as we have been doing, as our police officers have been doing. We want to encourage crime reporting. We want to ensure that if you're part of a mixed status family, or if you're undocumented, or if you have neighbors that are undocumented, we want to be able to create a space and a system that you can come and report crimes without fear of being deported if you're undocumented with no criminal background. Another misinformation is that this isn't going to bring criminals to Stockton. It's not going to encourage crime and corruption and all the things that people that say about our immigrant community. And that's far from the truth. We need to protect our community from the fear of discrimination. The local government commitment is to treat all residents equally. We provide access to city services regardless of immigration status. We don't ask about immigration statuses for services. And we don't hold individuals for civil immigration reasons without judicial reason or probable cause. crystal clear. Union Cities, being the first city in America that created this, they actually were acknowledged by as a model, a best practice model on the website of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. The Human Relations Commission outreach came together and brought their community, and this is how they laid out the initial compassionate city. And for the record, Councilmember Patiño just emailed me this morning, and again, I asked because this is something that came up during our legislative committee meeting. Again, valid questions from my colleagues, and I know I also asked Alex and some city staff I asked Councilmember Patiño today, I said, since 2017 to now, has this Union City been on any list from the Department of Justice or categorized as a sanctuary city? He said no. To this day, nearly 10 years. I asked him, now Vice Mayor Patiño, I asked him, has there been any loss of federal funding, any grants that you've applied to since January 2017? Have you lost money because of your status as a compassionate city? No. And those are facts. So I want to break down that misinformation of potential loss of funding, bringing criminals, etc. It is a crystal clear resolution. City of Stockton shall not engage in activity solely for the purpose of enforcing federal immigration law. We're not a federal agency. Unless immigration status is relevant to another criminal offense or investigation of suspicion or knowledge of an undocumented individual, that should not be the sole basis for contact, detention, or arrest. We're minding our own business because we're worried about the people of Stockton. That is our priority. Individuals should not be held in custody solely for civil immigration hold. No city employee shall ask or use knowledge of an individual's immigration status as a basis for providing services unless it's material to the service being sought out. And while we already are doing that, we need to reaffirm our community and to ease the fear to our community about what's happening, that we're still doing the work. But we need to remind folks because we haven't said it. City resources should not be used to create, assist in the creation, or maintain a registry based on race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, ethnicity, or national origin for the purpose of reporting any immigration-related data to federal law enforcement. And part of that was also included in the resolution that was passed in 2017, some of the language. And overall, again, just some comments that other council members from those cities have shared in terms of our immigrant community. I'm proud that I'm the son of immigrants, the fact that we are a 46% Latino city, the fact that for the first time in Stockton's history, we have a majority Latino council. And it's not just a Latino issue, but we also want to acknowledge that the people, the farm workers that are out there farming and making food and putting food on your table, when we talk about affordability, when we know that if you're out on a field having to pay for your family and you get taken away, what happens to the family? Will they have a roof over their head? Who else will be able to sustain a job? Do we know that the other parent is able to provide and get a job? How many of their kids have DACA, Deferred Action for Early Childhood Arrivals work permit? How many of them are mixed status, or maybe one child is a U.S. citizen but others aren't? The dysfunction and the stress it creates on the families is something that maybe people don't want to talk about, but it's a lived experience, and I want us to acknowledge that experience because it's happening to our communities right now. So I ask my colleagues to approve this resolution for declaring Stockton a compassionate city, to authorize the city manager to take whatever actions are necessary and appropriately carry out the purpose and intent of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to public comment, are there any questions for Councilman Enriquez? Otherwise, we'll move to public comment.
Laura Frosto?
There, on? Thank you. I just wanted to say that the ball is in your court. You know, we want to prevent violence and help families, and we want it to be hopefully a compassionate city. So I'm hoping that you will vote for this resolution. Thank you.
Alicia Ramirez, followed by Matthew Lester.
Just to reiterate, I hope that you vote yes, all of you, because it's a humane thing to do. And also, again, if we look at the financial part, we know that, and I gave research information last meeting, that it's a fact that every undocumented worker here brings in $7,000 in local, state, and federal revenue taxes. So it's a big loss, not only in the work shortage that we would feel, but also it's a humane thing to do. They're our neighbors. Who will take their jobs? Who will fill those slots? What will happen? So just to reiterate, the industries that include immigrant workers, I mean, it's a larger space: agriculture, construction, hospitality, transportation, and warehousing. You know, there would be a major economic impact. Statewide loss, according to Bay Area Council Economic Institute and UC Merced, we stand to lose $23 billion lost in local, state, and federal taxes. That's a lot of money. In the Central Valley alone, and we know for a fact also that each worker, immigrant worker, in the local, state, and federal contributes $7,000. And I just said that right. Sorry for repeating myself. But just between these two industries, agriculture and construction, in Lodi and in Stockton, this doesn't include Manteca and Tracy and quien sabe donde. I'm talking only Stockton and Lodi. And only in the agricultural industry and the construction. We stand to lose $20 million if we lose these workers only in Stockton and Lodi. That's a lot of money.
Matthew Lester, followed by Nora Zaragoza Yanez.
Hello again, and yeah, to repeat what Councilmember Enrique said, it's not reactionary. We've been at this since last November when we saw people in our neighborhood getting kidnapped and citizens stood up to figure out what we can do about it. At its core, this resolution is about values. It is about who we are as a city and how we choose to treat each other. Stockton is a diverse, resilient community built by immigrants, refugees, working families, and people who believe in dignity and fairness. Declaring Stockton a compassionate city is not just symbolic, it is a public commitment to lead with humanity, transparency, and care. And I want to thank Councilmember Enriquez again for being engaged every step of the way with the community and holding community discussions while we see our neighbors being terrorized by ICE. Our city must match this resolution with action. As we speak, there's an ICE facility in Stockton still operating. This is not an abstract issue. This is affecting real people, families, workers, and neighbors that have been taken behind closed doors with very limited public oversight. If we are to call ourselves a compassionate city, then transparency is also essential. I urge Councilman Enriquez and the rest of the council to request and conduct a thorough walkthrough of the ICE facility as soon as possible. Let's not wait for a trigger-happy ICE agent to do something in our city for this issue to be pressed. I've seen with my own eyes that they've almost run over protesters. They have fired pepper balls near children riding their bikes. People who protest bring their children with them, and they just play. I've seen ICE agent fire pepper balls near these children while they were playing. Just disgusting. So a walkthrough is not a political stunt, it is a basic act of accountability. It allows the public and elected officials to see conditions firsthand. Ask questions directly, ensure that what is happening within our city limits aligns with the values that we are affirming tonight. Okay, thank you.
Nora Zaragoza Yanez, followed by Casey Ann Carbonell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Nora Zaragoza Yanez, and I stand before you in strong support of the Compassionate City Resolution introduced by Councilmember Enriquez, and I respectfully urge you to vote yes on this item. I don't have to tell you that Stockton is a diverse city of over 325,000 people, and that more than 25% of these folks were born outside of the U.S. They're a foreign-born population that wholeheartedly contributes to our neighborhoods, our schools, and our economy every single day. Our neighbors, immigrants and refugees, are not negative statistics. They're the people running small businesses, working in agriculture and healthcare, raising families, and sustaining local jobs. They're also like my husband, a former DACA beneficiary turned US citizen who is the top director of immigration services and also a DOJ accredited representative at a nonprofit in the Central Valley. And he is a proud Stockton raised resident. They also add to the cultural vibrancy and economic resilience that Stockton needs as we continue rebuilding and growing together. While we face significant challenges, our strength comes from unity, not fear and division. Recent events remind us why this resolution matters. On October 25th, 2025, dozens of immigrants were unexpectedly summoned and detained at the local ICE office, causing fear and uncertainty among families and advocates concerned about due process and community well-being. And I remind everyone present, these are our neighbors, some of whom work essential jobs, attend our schools, and support their families here in Stockton. A compassionate city resolution affirms that every resident deserves dignity, safety, and fair treatment. This resolution aligns with values steadily already reflected in city practice. Our police department has stated that it does not enforce federal immigration laws and prioritizes trust-based community policing.
Casey Ann Carbonell, and followed by Lurkana Chong.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. I'm here to join my fellow committee members to express my strong support for the Compassionate City Resolution. This resolution is an important step in affirming Stockton's commitment to inclusion, humanity, and fairness. Immigrants and refugees are essential to our local economy, workforce, and small businesses, and when they feel safe, our entire community is safer and stronger. It was already stated, but this is not only a Latino issue. Stockton is home for many Filipino immigrants who also came to the Central Valley as farm workers, Cambodian refugees, immigrants from Laos, Vietnam, South Asia, Middle East, Africa, and other places. Policies rooted in compassion help build trust between residents and local government, ensuring that people are not afraid to seek help, report crimes, and access critical services. This resolution does not change federal law. Rather, it clarifies local values and reinforces best practices that protect limited city resources. It is a disgrace when we see the ICE processing facility receive a military-grade vehicle when we can be ensuring our own community members are better resourced. Instead, we're out there accompanying our neighbors to their ICE check-ins, and we're in 24/7 communication with community about ICE presence in our city so we can keep each other safe. I want to reiterate that every human, regardless of status, deserves dignity and safety, and adopting the Compassionate City Resolution is a values-driven policy choice that supports public safety, economic stability, and community well-being. So I urge you to vote yes and stand for something right. Thank you.
Lurkana Chong, followed by Yolanda Amen.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Lurkana. I am the Organizational Development Director at EMAC, a community-based nonprofit right here in Stockton, and I'm here tonight to publicly express my support for the Compassionate City Resolution. I commend Councilmember Enriquez for introducing the resolution, especially in this critical moment in time when our immigrant and refugee communities are feeling scared that they too can be violently kidnapped, ripped from their families, and denied their rights with the green light of the current authoritarian regime in the White House. As has been made abundantly clear in the past year, the federal government has failed many of us, and there is a dire need for local leadership to step up in order to protect our undocumented neighbors, our migrant farm workers, and our day laborers. Let this resolution be an important first step in this heightened political era for the city to declare our solidarity with Stocktonian immigrants and refugees, and let us make sure that this resolution paves the way for further action from the city to tangibly support immigrant and refugee families while holding federal immigration enforcement accountable for any attacks on our community. As many of us know, there is an ICE processing center right here in our own backyard. where people have been detained without due process, like others who have made public comments before me. I also strongly encourage all city council members to visit this facility and demand transparency from the agency that is kidnapping our neighbors, friends, and loved ones. Again, I support the passage of the Compassionate City Resolution, and I hope this is only the beginning of the city's explicit commitment to actively supporting and serving all Stocktonians regardless of immigration status. Thank you.
Yolanda Amon, followed by Mary Elizabeth.
Good evening once again. We are known as a compassionate city already, I believe. We're one of the most diverse. Compassion is not weakness. It's smart, preventative governance that builds trust between city and the people it serves. At a time when many communities feel divided and unheard, Stockton has an opportunity to lead by example. Declaring ourselves compassionate city sends a clear message that everyone matters, that dignity is non-negotiable, and that our city is committed to solutions rooted in care, fairness, and respect. I urge the council tonight to adopt this resolution and affirm what so many of us know already. Stockton is at its strongest when we lead with compassion. I support this, and I hope that you will all vote yes on it as well. Thank you.
Mary Elizabeth, followed by Alyssa Leyva.
Mary Elizabeth, Stockton resident. The resolution declaring Stockton a compassionate city is important for our residents that have the potential to interact with federal immigration and customs enforcement representatives. Our police department has important work and is already overwhelmed with enforcement programs rooted in overtime responsibilities. Having our police department prioritize local criminal matters and allocate resources according to community needs rather than acting as a de facto federal immigration agency is important for our community safety objectives. However, there is a video that I have seen where 3 patrol cars, now mostly with 2 officers, are shown outside of the West Fremont, which that's what I call it, the end of West Fremont off of their San Jose ICE office. I hope that the individual videotaping the instance of police department involvement reported the evidence of ICE support to the chief of police. I hope that the chief of police can provide data to justify the involvement in that instance and evidence showing that there were no other local criminal matters that were happening at the same time. Thank you.
Alyssa Leyva, followed by Cynthia Garcia.
Alyssa Leyva, board member of Stockton Stands Abolitionist 501c4 and member of Empowering Marginalized Asian Communities. I'm a proud Chicana and daughter of an immigrant mother and a great niece of a bracero during World War II. My grandfather fought fascism for this country to give my mom a good life that gave us this life that I'm blessed to have today. But I hope that this resolution can just be an affirmation to our priorities as Stockton as a whole. We did a lot of immigration justice last year alongside our partners with Campesinos Independientes regarding the racial profiling by Stockton Police Department, as well as with the street vendor ordinance, which did get an opposition petition with over 2,100 signatures. I hope that today can just be a reaffirmation for our people that immigrants belong here. And I'm really tired of the argument that immigrants only provide for the economy. We're people, and we're not a commodity. None of us are. And I hope that you can hold humanness in your heart and vote for this. Yeah, thank you.
Cynthia Garcia, followed by Jonathan Partridge.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Cynthia Garcia, and I'm a resident of District 5. I am here to express my support for the Compassionate City Resolution introduced by Councilmember Enriquez. At a time when immigrant and refugee communities are facing increased fear and uncertainty nationally, it is critical for Stockton to clearly affirm its values. This resolution is a statement of solidarity and recognition towards our neighbors, coworkers, and friends, and loved ones who happen to be immigrants and refugees. Stockton's diversity is one of the greatest strengths, and our immigrant communities are deeply woven into our city's culture and local economy. I humbly request that you guys vote yes on the Compassionate City Resolution and take an important step towards uniting our city. Thank you so much for all the work you do, and I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Jonathan Partridge, followed by Pat Barrett.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jonathan Partridge, Stockton resident and co-chair of our Immigration Commission for our diocese, the Episcopal Diocese of San Joaquin, and I go to St. John's Stockton down the street. Thank you, Councilmember Enriquez, for putting this forward, and I would urge you all to vote strongly in favor of this resolution. And as part of our work with the diocese, I've actually accompanied some folks to their ICE check-ins, and actually was with a local resident who was detained on one occasion and had to tell his wife that her husband wasn't coming back. And I don't know what's happening with his situation right now. That these detention centers where people are being placed. I mean, I've talked to folks who've been inside them. The conditions are horrible. I mean, they've talked about food with maggots and worms, and in Cal City right now, in particular, the new detention center over there, it's awful. Muddy water that's coming from spigots. There are leaky roofs, and people aren't getting medication who have like cancer and things like that. It's a truly awful situation. And so we want to make sure to protect our residents here. We have a strong community. We have just some wonderful things. This is a wonderful, diverse community. And I've just, in light of everything that's happening in Minnesota right now as well, I mean, just imagine that happening. I was on a call this evening with Bishop Craig Loya, who is the Bishop of Minnesota for the Episcopal Church, and talking about what they're seeing right now. And got people going door to door, basically saying like, are you documented or not? And, you know, ripping kids out of their school and you know, pushing them to the ground. And it's just been an awful situation. We don't want that. So thank you.
Pat Barrett, followed by Julie Dunning.
This will be longer than 18 seconds. This is a no-brainer. Michael Blower complimented me on my 18 seconds on the last agenda item. As a person that volunteers at Western Farm Workers Association, Vice Mayor Lee and council members Blower and Enriquez with a Z volunteered serving meals to our donor fundraisers. I thank you. They know the work that we do over there. These folks are people that are the last ones that get paid. These are the folks that not just from Mexico, but from all over South America and Central America that have escaped poverty to come here. As the ex-wife of an illegal immigrant at one point who made 70 hours a week at $5.50 an hour, now brings in $500,000 a year as a diesel mechanic. And a person that lived through amnesty days, a lot of you don't know about that, you're too young, but of a person that lives in a city that is almost 50% Hispanic and a mother of children of color, sorry about that, children of color. I have a fear at night because my children are your complexion, our vice mayor's complexion, and I have a fear at night. I have a fear during the day. Are my children going to have to get picked up and having to go through everything that they know of and not maybe getting out of a detention camp because of the color of their skin? So I think, again, this is a no-brainer, and I'm really proud of this coming forward to this city. It is from, I'm glad you looked at Alameda County because you know me and my Alameda County. Being progressive and bringing it forward, and I just think it's a no-brainer, and please vote yes.
Julie Dunning, followed by Alberto Gonzalez.
I want to start off by saying I'm proud of my council member for bringing this forward and the team that worked with him. I have very strong emotions where this is concerned. I support this, and I support this because unless you are a descendant of the indigenous people of this country, you are an immigrant. This is a very slippery slope. Our country was founded on people escaping persecution to come here. Our Constitution guarantees certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. What's happening now is a reflection of what's happened in history previously with African people, with the Native American people here, with the Jewish people in Germany. When one human being starts believing himself to be superior to another, that they can round them up, cage them, and put them in another location, not of their choosing, we have a severe problem. Compassion doesn't even begin to explain. It's a lack of humanity, a loss of humanity. And I'm proud that our city is willing to stand up and address it. I support this, and I hope that you all do as well. Thank you.
Alberto Gonzalez.
I wasn't going to speak tonight, but today I feel that I'm finally getting something that I worked so hard to get everybody elected, and I hope that you do the right thing and you vote yes. 2026 is a great start, especially with this. Ahora sí estoy orgulloso de haber ayudado a que ganaran para ser council members, y muchas gracias, Enrique. I started working in the fields, helping my parents when I was 6 years old. Part of me being short, it could be the cause of carrying them heavy tomato buckets. All my brothers are tall. I'm the shortest one of all of them. I picked tomatoes, onions, carrots, you name it, anything that had to do with the fields. The longest time I remember was we used to start at 7 in the morning. Sometimes we'd make it home at 10 at night. That's how we made a living. That's how a lot of these people make a living. Thank God everything changed for us. My parents don't have to work in the fields no more. A lot of my family members still work in the fields. I would love to see the people that say that we're taking their jobs to go pick asparagus. That's a real backbreaker. YouTube it, how you pick asparagus. We don't have it here. We have this festival, but I went to pick asparagus. I had a fever for 3 days from going out there, and it's all back. You pick one at a time till you get a handful, and then you put them down. So we're not taking your jobs. You don't want to do the job. And today, I feel blessed that everybody that's here on this agenda, the support out here, I feel good today. And I left and I came back just for this purpose. I'm very proud, except for the gentleman that always comes in here. You know.
That concludes public comment for this item.
Wonderful. So bringing it back to council for discussion, you have 5 minutes each. Is anybody wish to talk on this item? Councilmember Villapudua.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It's probably one of the most important items part of the year. Got tons of emails, phone calls regarding this item. People venting, people want to know where I stand. And as a Latino, very proud of being Latino in this district, as well as being the first Hispanic male in District 5. Immigrants come in different colors, different countries, and somehow, some way, we all come from immigrants. And I love being a Latino, and I just want to thank Councilman Enriquez for bringing this up, doing your homework. and I will be supporting this item. Thank you.
Councilwoman Ponce.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to start by thanking Councilmember Enriquez for your work on this compassionate city resolution and for bringing it forward in a way that it acknowledges both community concerns and legal realities. Upholding the rule of law is paramount, but so is ensuring laws are applied fairly in a way that promote public safety and trust. I believe this resolution reflects that balance, and for that reason, I will be supporting it. So thank you so much.
Councilmember Blower.
I just want to echo the comments of some of my fellow council members and compliment Councilmember Enriquez for the time and energy and effort that he put in to this. And he has been working on this for quite some time. He made the comment that this isn't just something that just came up. And reading through it, you know, I read through all of it. It's very well thought out. And I'm proud to be from a compassionate city, and I'm proud to support this.
Vice Mayor Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to say to Councilman Enriquez for you to take on a matter like this at a time that we find ourselves in took a lot of courage, and you exuded extreme leadership, your commitment to not only being on the front line with the people who are affected. I can't get emotional looking at you get emotional, but being able to do that, you know, while your mom sits in the audience, I know how proud she is. I just want you to know how proud I am. I also want to say to our police chief, I believe he was one of the first people out the gate to put out a press release that was very strong in support of our community. And I want to say to Chief McFadden, that took a lot of courage, especially when you see on a national level law enforcement shooting people in the face as they try to evade. And so I do want to mention Renee's name here in public. Council's comments tonight reflects our support for the entire diverse community. I know we're talking about the Latino community and the farm workers, but we have a rich Sikh community. We have African Americans. We have people who are, like my mother, white, but from other countries and who are also immigrants. So I just want to say that I'm extremely proud of this council. I appreciate all of my colleagues' comments from the end of the dais to here, and that we're all unanimously appearing to stand in support of what's a no-brainer. And I just think the community, our police department, and our council colleague, Mario Enriquez with a Z, should be proud. So I'm happy to support this.
Councilwoman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. And I know this isn't an easy fight, and I'm very proud that you took the challenge on and thankful, and our residents of Stockton should be very proud and thankful that we have somebody like Councilmember Enriquez representing our city. Thank you for bringing this forward, and I will be supporting this Compassionate City initiative.
So as an educator, I will let people know that I have had a number of students over the years who this was not ever a topic we discussed. We never had to worry about discussing it. I knew some students who felt ashamed, which I was really surprised at. I didn't know. I remember taking a group of students on a plane to Arizona, and I had students who said, yeah, no, I can't go, Ms. Fugazi, and we were going to college. I was taking them to college to experience college life, and I had students say, I can't get on a plane, and I definitely can't go to Arizona. But we went as a group. We had a group ticket. They had their school IDs. We had it all arranged. We went, we came back, and those students were, you know, their eyes were opened, that there is opportunity for them despite whatever their immigration status was. Writing letters of recommendation, giving scholarship applications, regardless, helping them fill out their college application with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You had to put all zeros down on there, and you still could get accepted. That was for their social security number. Okay, that's why all those zeros were. And that one student in particular, she excelled in science and she wanted to be a doctor. And unfortunately, she didn't let anybody know what her status was, and her family tried to work it because guess what? Her siblings did have status here. They were citizens. One parent was and one parent wasn't. And she got into UC Santa Cruz pre-med and was super excited, but her mom wanted to go back to Mexico to visit her mother because she hadn't for years. And so my student went with her mother. Then she couldn't come back. And they had been working with the Coyote on getting her status taken care of. She tried diligently to do that, and at that time it didn't happen. But guess what? She eventually got her citizenship. She came back. She did go to college. She got married. She's had kids. She has followed her dream. But that is one in a list of tens of thousands. You don't really hear that opportunity much. And so what I want people to really do, those out there that are saying that this is not something we should be doing, including the federal government, I want them really to read this document. I want them to understand the resolution. And I want them to know that, you know, our police department, our policemen, there is not a section in the academy that's on immigration. They are not immigration officers. They are our police officers. And people cannot be afraid to reach out to them. I know they are, but if you see something, say something. We've been saying that over and over again, and so I just challenge you. Do not let somebody make a victim out of you. You have inalienable rights, in my opinion, to be in the pursuit of happiness. And if that happens to be here, so be it. I would not want to stand in the way of that. And so I, too, as well, want to thank Councilman Enriquez. I gave him props when I got interviewed today. I said, "You're interviewing the wrong person." And then he said, "Oh, they already interviewed me." But this is us saying, you know, that everyone has value. Everyone has something to contribute. And every single one of us has purpose. And if that happens to be here in Stockton, it's here in Stockton. So I, as well, am in support, and I will turn it over to Councilman Enriquez for the honors.
And just really quick, I want to thank my colleagues. I haven't been this hopeful, excited, honored to work alongside all of you in this effort. Some might say it's low-hanging fruit, it's a statement, but it really does go a long way for our community. So, yeah, I just feel really energized and hopeful. I haven't felt this way in a really long time on this dais, but I think what my colleagues have shared, and we know the heart of our community and what Stockton is and what we stand for. So I just want to, again, thank everybody, thank all the organizers, the volunteers, and just everybody who just gave comment. And we really want to, again, we want to get to work and just show people that this is what we want to do and this is who we are. So if there's no further comments, I'd like to motion to approve.
I make a motion. Oh, second.
Second.
Sorry. We're all equal.
Council, please vote. 7-0. Congratulations. Okay. We're going to take a quick 5-minute recess. We'll be back at 8:40.
Like it's last time, leave your lips on my voicemail. Heart on red, but you still press call every night. press call every night. You say I've changed, but you move the goal. You want my time, then you ghost my soul. Drive through bags on your countertop. You wear my shirt and tell me we should stop. You got your girls hyping up your phone, but when they leave, you ain't sleeping alone. You say you need your distance, you say you need your space, but I'm your favorite weakness, saved under just in case. You only call on the night show. Down me up when you're passive. Say you're done, then your mind flips. Baby, you're bad for my health, but I like. You always sit on the ley line, hands on me like it's last time. Leave your lips on my voicemail, heart on red, but you still press call every night. You say yes, alright, but you still press call every night. Like takeout, hang me up when you're full. I keep running every play out, acting like I'm not the fool. You say pull up, then slow down, then speed up, then go now. We touch down, then fall out, then make up, then black out.
Thinking as I count these empty days. Ask me if I'm feeling better. I've been moving solo, keep my distance from the pressure. I've just been so fed up. Ay. Mama say I'm colder than I used to be. Probably all the times I let them close to me. I don't tell nobody, I don't show the sense. That's how people learn exactly where you bleed. Hope I find some truth while I'm alive. Close my eyes before I say goodbye. Before they tell me life was just another lie. This really ain't the life I had in mind. Pulling out this notebook every night, writing down my thoughts just to survive. Promised I would try to let somebody in, but then we hit the ground again. They say they're real with me, then they switch differently. I keep my circle thin, cause every time I trust it end up costing me. Hey, that's probably why I'm always closing it. I wish I told you what I never say. Instead I push it down and turn away. I don't expect you to understand. So keep your promises out of my hands. I see your face, but I don't feel safe. Feel for safe. Every word you say got time delay. It's 3 a.m. and I'm wide awake with 6 a.m. I'm still fighting what I'm feeling. I'm getting older and I'm trusting less. Thought they had my back, now it don't make sense. When you realize they never meant what they said. I hear you, I just stay alone instead.
Lipstick on my coffee cup. You gone, but the mark stays stuck. 2 chairs at this wobbly table. one still empty, one barely able. You took the sun from our Sunday, left your name in my old glass blues. I keep calling up, you're always, but this room only echoes back the truth. You took the sun from my Sunday, left me alone with these worn out shoes. Oh. Radio hums that old sad sound, curtain light barely hits the ground. Your dress still hangs on that crooked nail, like a flag from a ship that forgot to sail. I still set your fork, still pour your drink, talk to the air more than I think. If loving you was wrong, and why does it feel so right to miss you night after night? Oh. Night after night. Night after night.
We are back in session, and we are going out of order on the next item as well. So we will be going to item 16.6, discussion regarding result of the Wild and Out investigation. And I will turn this over to the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Per previous council direction on August 26, 2025 and December 9th, 2025, the contemplated results for the Wild and Out investigation are being presented tonight by retained investigator Stephen Miller of Hanson Bridget. Stephen Miller has a varied practice spanning over 20 years, representing both public and private clients in the public arena. He assists public agencies throughout California in a variety of practice areas and has expertise in public contracts, procurements, regulatory compliance, intergovernmental agreements, constitutional issues, workplace investigations, government ethics. He also serves as counsel to the Sacramento Ethics Commission and the San Jose Board of Fair Campaign and Political Practices Commission. Mr. Miller is here tonight to present the findings and results from the investigation and answer any questions the council might have. So after that introduction, I will kick it over to Stephen.
Good evening, Mr. Miller.
Good evening, Mayor Fugazi, Vice Mayor Lee, council members. That was a lovely item, not so easy to follow. Perhaps not as inspiring a subject matter, but here we find ourselves. Here I am this evening to try and answer your questions. And thanks to your new city attorney for that introduction. I am, in addition to that introduction, I'm the author of the report that was submitted to the city attorney and made available to you all, as well as an executive summary that was, I think, publicly included in tonight's packet. The report is lengthy and detailed, and I'm not going to go through it in any detail. It's late, and I'm sure you all are eager to ask me questions, which I welcome, but I would appreciate 3 or 4 minutes that I can sort of give you a high-altitude overview of the work that I've done, but I will do my very best to be very brief. We were tasked with investigating and evaluating 2 questions. The first was whether there was any misconduct by any council member associated with the Wild and Out live event held back in May of 2025. And second, should any council member have recused themselves when the matter of this investigation and engaging me to conduct that investigation was discussed by the council. While the council's express and formal direction was not targeted at any one council member, I think it was very clear to me, and I'm sure to all of you, that the focus of the investigation was the vice mayor. And so I will focus on his actions and the results of my investigation as it results to him in this little presentation, although the report that I submitted follows your direction and is a little more broad. With regard, so 2 questions. First, with regards to the Wild and Out live event, we found no violation of any state or city law arising out of the city's involvement in the Wild and Out live event and the vice mayor's on-stage participation in that event. This is essentially because the facts of our investigation revealed that the vice mayor had no financial interest in any contract associated with the event or in any decision of this council, and that he received no benefit of any kind resulting from his city service. The vice mayor likely had a personal, non-financial interest in the success of the event, but the facts indicated that that personal interest was aligned with the city's interest in economic development and in the similar success of the event. With regard to the second issue of recusal, the law here is not as well settled or well developed, and so our report on this point is more nuanced than on the first issue, which has the clarity that I just described. Under the Political Reform Act, a public official, like the vice mayor or like all of you, must recuse himself from participating in any government decision. Here, the government decision was the decision to engage an outside investigator, if the official has a financial interest in the decision. And a financial interest means that there is it is reasonably foreseeable that the decision could have a material financial effect on the public official. That it's reasonably foreseeable that a decision could have a material financial effect on the public official. There is no explicit statutory law applying facts like those present here involving an investigation to that legal standard, so we cannot say with any certainty that the vice mayor was legally required to recuse himself from the vote to hire an investigator. But especially given the factual uncertainties that exist at the outset of any investigation, we think that that standard could easily have been met here. And so we think the vice mayor should have recused himself from the decision to authorize an investigation into his own conduct, especially in order to avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest. Again, this is our best assessment of the law, but not reflected in any binding precedent that yet exists. Similarly, and in addition to the Political Reform Act, there is a judge-made set of laws. The Political Reform Act is a statute-made. There's a judge-made set of laws referred to as the common law, which holds that a public official may not put him or herself in a position where personal interests clash with public duties. Again, like the Political Reform Act, there is no law applying facts regarding an investigation like that here to that common law doctrine, but we think that any public official ought not to participate in a decision to investigate him or herself in order to prevent any possible clash or even the appearance of a clash between personal interests and public duties. Finally, our report discusses the uncontroversial principle that the law only sets the floor for what is required, and the similarly uncontroversial principle that public officials should hold themselves to the highest possible ethical standards, even when those standards go beyond what is strictly legally required. And our report concludes that the vice mayor did not meet that high standard with regards to the recusal issue. And with that, I am ready to take all questions and try and help. This matter has been before this council for quite some time, and hopefully we can address all the questions you may have.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first I want to say I apologize because I was very rude to you during our interview. because of my frustration with the time that we've wasted of taxpayer money and time on this matter when we have kids dying in our streets. So I do apologize for my temperature with you during the investigation, but I do thank you for your very clear, unbiased findings. I look at your report, and the first thing that's clear, I only have two questions. The first question is, did I violate any law?
Are you referring to?
Of the FPPC, any FPPC rule, was there a finding of any violation of that?
Well, as I just said, I believe the Political Reform Act required you, and the Common Law Conflict of Interest Doctrine, both of which are laws, called for your recusal from the matter to hire an investigator into your own conduct. But I did not find any violations of any kind of law with regard to the Wild and Out event itself.
Okay, so let me ask the first question then. The first question for me, just to be clear for the record, is was there a violation of any FPPC rule, charter provision, policy, or law as it relates to bringing Wild and Out to Stockton and participating in the show? The answer you said was no, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so in terms of ethics, what you say right here on page 2 of your report is the law only sets the floor. The law only sets the floor of mandatory ethical conduct. So I'm talking specifically about the law, because if the law is to drive 30 miles an hour in a 30-mile zone, your opinion could be I should drive 25, but the law says 30. Did I follow the law? Was the question.
Yeah, I don't think you're accurately characterizing my report.
Okay, help me understand.
So the Political Reform Act, the law, sets a standard that any public official may not participate in a governmental decision in which that public official has a financial interest. That is a pretty broad legal statement that then courts and regulatory bodies apply different sets of facts to that statement. There is no factual finding applying situations like this to that standard.
Okay.
But in my view, based on my decades of experience in ethics and my advising countless bodies such as the council, there is a clear conflict of interest in a public official voting on an investigation into their own conduct, because the outcome of that investigation could easily have and reach the kind of financial interest that is prohibited by law. So I can't point to you to a case that says that. As I said, the law is not yet developed, but there's lots of new facts that come up with new laws. But the legal standard is what I just articulated.
Did your report, because I saw the expanded report, but just asking in relation to this investigation, were there other council members mentioned in that investigation that you looked into or named in that report?
So I'm hesitating only because I think I want to defer to your acting city attorney. The report itself, at I believe your direction, was submitted as a confidential and privileged document. So unless you would like to waive that privilege, which I welcome, I'm not sure I can talk to you this evening in public about what's in that longer, detailed report. That's why there is the existing executive summary that.
So let me ask the city attorney then, in terms of waiving privilege, to be able to have a full discussion, he said, it sounds like he supports that. Can we have that conversation, or how do we do that to have a full conversation?
Yes, it would require a formal motion, second, and vote to waive the privilege as it is held by the council. So you would need to make a motion to that effect.
Okay, so I make a motion to waive the privilege for this report so we can have a full council discussion. Can I get a second?
Okay, so there is, and that's without reviewing it ahead of time?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I reviewed it. I'm fine with it.
No, the full report. We have the
okay,
summary, but we're talking about the full. I don't know how long the full report is.
Well, I think I could say that without violating attorney-client privilege. The full report is
How many pages? Or
23 pages, and there's a set of exhibits that is probably a little bit longer even than that.
Well, the taxpayers pay $50,230 for that report, so I motion in. There's a second. I'd like to just
Okay.
waive privilege.
Councilmember Villapudua?
Yeah, I have a question. Mr. Miller,
Are we going to act on the motion? We have a motion and a second.
Oh, I was.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Okay. So yes would be approving to waive a privilege. Okay, council, please vote. Motion carries 5-2 with Fugazi and, did you not want to know? Huh? Yes. Oh, so Councilwoman Ponce is a yes. I'm still a no because I haven't read the document.
Thank you,
So.
Council. I still have more questions, but I can defer to my colleague and come back if you want.
Yeah. Mr. Miller, finishing the final investigation, when were you done with it? And what date? And then who was the information given to?
So I believe you authorized the investigation on August 26th. I believe I was engaged within a week of that time, so say the beginning of September, and we submitted a report. I'm getting there. We submitted a first report to your city attorney on, I believe, October 30th. Let's just make sure I'm right. No, sorry, October 22nd, 2025. And then that report did not address the issue of recusal because the original motion and the direction you gave to me through your city attorney was to investigate only the first of those two questions I asked. So in December, I believe December 9th, you authorized an expansion of the investigation to include the issue of recusal. And we submitted then an expanded report on both issues, really the same report that we just added the recusal issue on January 2nd, 2026.
So December. Okay. And then whose that information was given it to?
I sent it to the city attorney.
The city attorney. So you're saying that December 9th is when you were done with the investigation?
The first part of our investigation was completed on October 22nd,
Yeah, I
and the
understand.
second part was completed on January 2nd. December 9th was the date that you council members authorized the expanded scope of the investigation.
Okay.
Did I answer your question? There are a lot of dates, but those are the dates.
No further questions as of right now.
Do any other council members have questions before I move back to Vice Mayor? You have a question? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just curious as to cost. I see that the total was $50,230. Can you tell me, do you have a breakdown? Like, what was it when you got the first part, and then how much more did it cost expanding the scope?
I'm not trying to hide the ball. I'd be happy to provide that. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Do you have a ballpark?
I believe a ballpark is 35-15, but I'd be happy to. I think your question is how much was after the December 9th expanded scope, but again, as the Vice Mayor indicated, this is your money. I'm happy to provide you as much detail as you would like. And just for the sake of clarity, that estimate was provided, I can't remember exactly, a couple days ago. It did not include today, so it's going to be a little bit more than that $50,000.
Okay. Okay. No, him.
I'm very proud of the work we did. I don't apologize for it all. I didn't solicit the work. I didn't hustle it. I didn't chase any ambulances. You all reached out to me and hired me.
I have no criticism.
Okay,
of you.
so no other council members, and we'll go back to questioning. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate your honesty. My colleague, Councilmember Villaputua, actually asked the question that one of the questions I want to ask in terms of the origination date, the expansion date, and all that, because dates matter. And the reason why is because, obviously, my name has been out there since August with this whole thing. August 5th, I think, was the original date that this was put into the media. But I do want to go back to my original question prior to us voting to waive privilege. I want to thank the council for doing that. Councilwoman Padilla was one of the ones that was vocal from the beginning about let's just do this investigation to clear all of our names, because she was also at the event. She's named in the report. So my question to you is, are you saying that only I was supposed to recuse myself, or we both should have recused ourselves? Because you started with your presentation that it was a broad review of all council members or any council member that participated, and there were more than just me at that event.
Good question. So we did investigate. We did start with a clean slate on just the event question with everybody, although it quickly became clear to us that the only two council members who conceivably could have had a conflict or an interest in that event were you, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Padilla, and neither of the facts don't indicate that either of you had the kind of financial interest that would lead to any violation, and our report so indicates. With regards to recusal, which is, I think, your question, what our report indicates, and this is my based on watching very carefully your December 9th expansion of scope direction, is that it was very clear to me that the focus was on you, Vice Mayor Lee, and that you knew that you were authorizing an investigation into yourself. But that is not the same as what our report indicates, is that we do not think that at that date on December 9th that Councilmember Padilla would have had the same assurance, and therefore we do not suggest that she should have recused herself, because she did not have the kind of notice that there was in fact an investigation into herself. The fact that the council said we're investigating, we're not naming anybody, didn't mean that all 7 of you needed to recuse yourselves. It didn't require much to understand that you were the focus of the investigation, and that's what we took away from your December 9th meeting.
My last question is, did my vote to not recuse change the facts you found from the original investigation?
No.
All right, thank you. That's all I have for now. I do have a statement at the end, but that's the only question I have.
Okay, so we will move on to public comment then. Thank you. And and since it was waived, we'll all receive a copy then of the full report?
Yes, I can provide the council with the report.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll just sit in the back in case some of these questions prompt you to want to ask me.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Miller.
Yolanda Amen, followed by Mary Elizabeth.
Hello again, Yolanda Amen, resident. I'm here to speak about fiscal accountability and how even small amounts of wasted public funds erode public trust. For example, $50K in wasted tax dollars equals to 22 to 28 cents per Stockton taxpayer. On its own, I know that sounds small, but for residents who are already struggling, that $50K added up very quickly, and it mattered. The money could have been supported sports program, neighborhood improvements, or basic city services. The concern isn't one isolated mistake. The concern is whether this is going to become a pattern when someone feels they've been wronged on the dais. I'm asking council to practice better listening when the public you serve asks you not to waste our taxpayer dollars on vendettas. Disagreement is a part of public service, but retaliation should never be. I'm also asking our city manager to require stronger oversight of how taxpayer dollars are spent, and when wrong decisions are made, as in this case, that there is real accountability, not excuses, so public funds are used as intended for the betterment of our city. I would also like to formally request that 28 cents be refunded to every Stockton household, since repeated pleas to stop this fell on deaf ears in 2025. If you have an opportunity to do better, I ask tonight, please do better in 2026. Thank you.
Mary Elizabeth, followed by Alex Lima.
Mary Elizabeth, Stockton resident. As a member of the CAR Baby 617 consultation group, I've been completing a California Department of Justice ethics program. The Brown Act and conflict of interest disclosures that may be legal may not be enough to build trust with our community. Our community values transparency and good government, so that there are things that could have been done better. Voting to investigate oneself doesn't seem like a problem to me. Just doing the minimum does not advance our community goals, yet this is what happens too often. The city clerk has specific duties related to statement of economic interest that can also be improved for government trust. It's not okay that a member of the public had to submit a sworn statement to compel a planning commissioner to submit required information. Submitting statements of economic interest is a bare minimum which is not locally enforced. Going forward, actions like removing economic disclosure should not occur as happened when the requirement for statement of economic interest for the Climate Action Plan Committee was eliminated when only 2 members had not submitted the information and the previously convened Climate Action Plan Committee were all required to submit those disclosures. Truth and transparency. Additionally, I submitted comments and a comment card to provide comments regarding the Port of Stockton Commission, which I hope in my next minutes I will be able to include. Thank you.
Alex Lima, followed by Barbara King.
Good evening. There's been a quote going around on social media, a George Orwell quote. It says, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." I read that book, I think my either sophomore or junior year at Franklin. Shout out Miss Craven. And she talked about what the government in 1984, oppressive government, just straight up lying to the people and presenting a narrative that can shield them from accountability. And seeing today the mayor's posts on social medias was really sad to me because I was here on that December 9th meeting with the ridiculous metaphor about the cheese and the burger with no cheese and all that stuff. And from what I gathered, I gathered that anybody really concerned with the feeling of conflict of interest could file an FPPC complaint by themselves. But we were voting to use taxpayer funds to do the same thing. That's what I understood from being here in the room. And so then to see today that the mayor was implying that the 3 gentlemen to your right are somehow trying to like split or trying to investigate the city manager was weird, because I saw Councilman Enriquez advertising an event with the city manager this weekend. So it just, the appearance to me, and then later you said that that all of your decisions are guided by fairness, transparency, but you just voted to not, to not release the thing on it. So I think it's very political, and it doesn't need to be. We need more 7-0s like the last one. Great politics.
Barbara King, followed by Alberto Gonzalez.
Good evening. Distracting, gaslighting, and projection are definitely a coping mechanism some of our city council members are using to escape your own reality. We do not need to continue these distractions. Let's complete the work that's needed for the city of Stockton and stop wasting taxpayers' money with frivolous investigations. In my opinion, this was a witch hunt, which all of you knew, to distract the citizens away from knowing who really has the city of Stockton's best interests at heart. True leadership is more than a title and showing up for meetings. It's about bringing forth change and positive progress for all the city of Stockton. I chose my leaders because they exuded relatability and transparency. You have demonstrated that you are challenged and you possibly feel inferior when it comes to Mr. Lee. There's no big I's or little U's, and everyone's voice should be respected and heard when it comes to working together. This was retaliation from the Steve Colangelo inquiry. You should have roads above, yet you chose to use the low road. Wild 'N Out was the safest and best event Stockton has had in years. Wild 'N Out show generated an estimated $640,000 in direct income impact for the city of Stockton. The investigation was necessary to restore public trust and clear any wrongdoing. The banging of the gavel has no validity. It's time out for Gavelgate. Right is right and wrong is wrong. What goes on behind the scenes will come to the light. Controlling the narrative does not and will not make you right. Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect. They can do whatever and say whatever they want, but the moment you react, they blow up. The truth is the truth, and it will stand the test of time.
Alberto Gonzalez, followed by Cynthia Gale Boyd.
The only thing I want to say, it was such a good night with the agenda Enrique has, so I'm just glad that the investigation is done and we can move forward like we did today, because today was, so I'm being nice. I'm not going to say nothing. You know, our tax money got wasted, we're not, but I'm so happy with the energy that we received tonight, and I'm just glad that it's over, and I hope that you guys can continue to work like you guys did today. Thank you.
Cynthia Gale Boyd, followed by Julie Dunning.
I can't remember what the relationship was with Colangelo and Lee at the time. Were they in? Were they out? I can't remember. But at either rate, what I do remember is that $50,000. And now I hear him add another $50,230. One of y'all is a math teacher, probably. Is that $100,230? What kind of nonsense is that? Then spend up the taxpayers' dollars. It should have never happened. If Wild 'N Out was going to fail, it should have failed on its own. When you built the new arena down there, the first show failed, didn't it? The city didn't come and bailed out Bruce Strainsfield or whoever the hell it were. I produced Jazz on the Waterfront for 2 successful years. Brought in revenue. We brought in people with the yachts to dock out here. People who spend big money for top name entertainers in jazz. Who profited from this little shake your booty Wild 'N Out? Certainly not any of the regular citizens. We ain't got no street lights because of it. The roads ain't been fixed because of it. I heard her say that the profit was $640,000. How much of that did you get to the victims of the mass shooting? Could have used some of them pennies to bring Tiffany Haddish out here with Rudolph driving the sleigh. Come on, talk to me quick when you talk. I tell you all the time, somebody was quoted by the Stocktonian and said they need to have more people like this at the meeting, and they quoted her, and I love that quote. I'm going to start using Gavelgate now myself, but I wish that they would have remembered, oh yeah, and then that saying that Miss Boyd has, that money talks, and that bullshit ran a marathon.
Julie Dunning.
Before you speak, this is your warning on the profanity. No, I'm giving you a warning now, though. For next time? If you speak the next time on it. Okay.
So $50,000. This was an expensive lesson, but we've learned it, and it's done. And we have an opportunity to move forward. But in moving forward, I want to say something. When the vice mayor showed up, everybody was excited. Everybody. He's a personality. He has influence. He has a presence. He's a content creator. Many of you participated in his events, rode on his coattails, did a lot with his fame. He was bringing back his success to Stockton to do good. There's a little story, and I'm not in any way implying that the vice mayor's a snake, but there's a little story that we're taught as children about a snake that's frozen in the snow and a little boy that picks him up, brings him in, feeds him, and then the snake bites him. And the little boy says, "Why did you do that after everything I've done for you?" And he said, "You knew I was a snake when you picked me up. You knew he was a personality. You knew he was a content creator. You knew this is how he made his living. So for anybody to complain now and say victim now because his life as vice mayor is part of social media and the things that he does are known around the world and you are impacted by it, then I say shame on you. You knew who he was when you brought him into your world, and you capitalized on who he was. Thank you.
That concludes public comment for this item.
Okay, so council comments on this item? Vice Mayor, you said you wanted.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, let me first start by saying that I worked really hard to get to where I am in life. And I appreciate the investigators' comments, but you know, the people that empowered me to decide when I vote and when I go in rooms and not in rooms are the people. The people voted me in. I work for the people. I don't work for that attorney. I don't work for this attorney. I don't work for this council. I don't work for anybody in the room but the taxpayers who paid $50,230. But let me be very clear. This was the second investigation. You forgot the first one was the staff they put out on leave, did that investigation, paid all that money to investigate her. They already knew the findings and still decided to move forward. When I say they, the city, I'm not going to say this council, but I'll leave that with the people to decide. I don't want to be the focus of Stockton right now. I want to be the focus of prosperity and progress. So I'm going to ask the public, I'm going to read this statement that I wrote, and then I don't want to talk about Wilding Out anymore until I bring it back to the city, okay? So first of all, I want to begin by being clear and accurate about my position from the very start. I have always welcomed transparency and an independent review of the facts, but at the same time, I voted against wasting taxpayer money in pursuit of what I believed then and what this report now confirms was a politically motivated investigation unsupported by evidence of wrongdoing. The independent investigation conducted by Hanson Bridges is now complete and its findings are unequivocal. The investigators found no violation of state law, no violation of the Political Reform Act, and no violation of the city charter, nor prohibited financial interests and no improper influence of any government decision related to the event. So in short, the allegations that gave rise to this investigation were not substantiated. This matter did not originate from a credible enforcement referral or verified misconduct. It emerged during a period of internal political conflict and leadership transition and was released to the media by the interim city manager in the final days of his employment with the city, not this council. The mayor didn't release that, the council didn't, he did. What is particularly troubling is that several of my colleagues, though, privately acknowledged from the outset that I had done nothing wrong, yet publicly voted to authorize an investigation that they knew would not change the outcome of the original investigation at a direct cost to the Stockton taxpayers. That investigation cost more than $50,230, and I hope that the full cost comes out soon. And I believe that that was an abuse of authority and a failure of fiscal stewardship. Investigations should exist to protect the public interest, not to settle political disputes, create headlines, or give legitimacy to claims that lack factual or legal foundation. The report itself confirms that there was no legal requirement for recusal, no statutory violation, and no evidence that I acted against the city's interests. In fact, I think he said my personal interest was aligned with the city's, which is why I came to the city to make sure our city continues to grow. And what remains is not a finding of misconduct, but subjective commentary about aspirational ethics, standards that go beyond what the law requires. I respect ethical discussion, but I reject the misuse of taxpayer dollars to pursue political narratives under the guise of accountability. And finally, I want to speak directly to the voters of Stockton. This is an election year and your voice matters, your vote matters. And too often this council, before tonight, has focused on lining up for votes instead of making sure that every vote counts and that every decision reflects the priorities of the people. And if you're frustrated, if you feel unheard, if you believe this city should focus less on politics and more on results, make sure your voice is heard, make sure your frustration is felt, and make sure that your priorities are clear at the ballot box. We don't need to continue to go on Facebook and come to council. And I pulled the mayor aside in the hallway to say, we can't let the Wild and Out investigation cause us 3 more years of turmoil that get in the way of the work that the people mandated all of us to come here to the city and do. And tonight, Councilman Enriquez was really inspiring. Our colleagues, Councilman Ponce crying down there, everybody really emotional about the progress and future of our city. I hope that we continue to pursue that. And the last thing I want to say is that legislative immunity does not protect us from doing whatever we want to whoever we want. I run a very successful company that is a global brand, and this impacted me, and I can't say that I'm not going to continue to pursue a remedy because I've yet to have an apology. I've yet to have a person humble themselves enough to say, I am sorry you had to go through that. But it's okay, because we will continue to address it outside this room and outside of this public forum. But I would just ask the public to get past this as I will, so we can continue to focus on the priorities that are important to you. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other council comments? Okay, this was informational, so thank you, and we will move on to the next item then, which is item 16.4. We're going back to go forward, which, let me get to it. I gotta read it. It is the discussion of the Audit Committee report regarding the Charter Section 406 investigation into diversity, equity, and inclusion, and potential direction to staff. And City Clerk.
Good evening, Council. You did receive the report. It was attached to the agenda item. Of course, the Chair of the Audit Committee is here to assist with any questions or to talk about it. They do have a public comment when you're ready.
Thank you, City Clerk, and thank you, Mayor. Before I get into the report, what I do want to reference, be very clear on a couple things. One, I want to thank my colleague, Councilwoman Padilla, Councilmember Enriquez, for the work that we did in developing a policy that allowed for Section 406 to even be a possibility, because historically Stockton has not had a mechanism to bring checks and balance to our institution, and this allowed us a process that this council voted to support to create a finding of fact for our community. Coming off the heels of the last discussion, it's really important to note that the DEI inquiry that started by me with the interim city manager, who's no longer here, happened last year, and in that inquiry, that led into the Wild and Out that I said, for the record, became a distraction, a political distraction from this topic. But I'm thankful to my colleagues who allowed us to go through a process in full transparency to the public to review this. The title of this presentation, The Dissolution of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, DEI, and the office that we had here in potential misuse of public funds. That was the pursuit that me, Councilmember Blower, and Councilmember Padilla did. So the findings are, let me go through this. So the Audit Committee elected me to write the report. I wrote the report and submitted it on January 4th. The executive summary, so this report presents the findings of the Audit Committee's investigation conducted pursuant to Section 406, as I said, and the focus there, as we talk about, is into the dissolution of the city's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, the reassignment and demotion of the former DEI manager, and potential unauthorized reallocation of public funds in violation of Charter Section 1907. The committee found that although we had created in 2022, Mayor, I think you were on the council at the time when we developed, or you all developed a resolution claiming that racism was a public health crisis, correct? Outlined the city's intent to advance the equity and establish a DEI committee. The resolution did not direct the city manager at the time to create a DEI manager or what evolved into a DEI program director position, nor did it contain any catch-all authority language empowering the city manager to take appropriate and necessary actions to carry out the purpose of that resolution. However, later, the city manager created a council-approved DEI program director position, and management of the city's DEI efforts, including the focus of how we diversify our organization. So what we found in our investigation and talking to several staff through testimonies, staff were subpoenaed. The committee concluded that the dismantling of the council-approved DEI program director position and management of the city's DEI efforts, including the reassignment of the position, occurred without council communication, lacked transparency, and may have involved fiscal actions inconsistent with charter requirements. And furthermore, after this activity was brought to the city manager's attention, there was a concerted effort within the building to evade the facts with unconfirmed research. Further, we as a committee made a couple requests and unanimously asked that the mayor enforce the subpoena of Mr. Colangelo, who refused to adhere to the subpoena, and the mayor's refused to do that. And she refused to issue the city manager a mandate to come and refused to send it to the court. And so that obstructed a lawful oversight and impaired our ability to conduct a complete neutral fact-finding inquiry. So the subject of the investigation, who took the actions here at City Hall, was the one person that was not mandated to come before our committee. Therefore, we weren't able to ask all of his full intentions in doing what he did. So just to give some really quick historical and policy context, in 2022, as I mentioned, the City Council unanimously adopted a resolution declaring racism here in Stockton a public health crisis. The resolution expressed a clear policy direction establishing the committee to guide equity-related work, and it did not mandate, as we said, an executive-level DEI manager or DEI office, nor did it delegate broad implementation authority to the city attorney. So what happened, and I'll summarize this, the city created this DEI program director position, and she testified that she was forced under threat of being terminated to take a demotion, a reduction in pay, and to transfer out of the city manager's office into human resources. Again, all of which happened under the nose of this council, and when inquired by me to the interim city manager, he denied that and said that, quote, he was expanding the DEI efforts at the city of Stockton, which was proven in our testimonies from staff that it was not true. So legal authority, we had the authority under Section 406, that was the investigatory power to look into that. Charter Section 1907, we looked at budget transfers and appropriations. It states that it prohibits transfers between funds or departments without council approval. Unauthorized reallocations may constitute misuse of public funds. So having a staff person funded in the city manager's department being transferred to the human resources department, that transfer of funds would require council approval. That did not happen. So here's some background on the matter. The DEI program director role, while it was not explicitly authorized in 2022 resolution, became an integral part of the city's internal and community-facing equity strategies through council-approved budget allocations in later years. In mid-2025, former interim city manager Steve Colangelo dissolved the DEI office and reassigned the DEI program director, as I said, to a lower-level role in human resources. While the interim city manager had the authority to reassign Ms. Nixon to human resources, the funding to cover the position required an appropriation by council that did not occur. This transfer occurred without the threat of, the transfer occurred, as I said, with the threat of termination, without council notification, without a written reorganization plan, and without supporting data and analysis on how this was going to help the organization or our public, or the public. A public explanation in a press release from the city described the move as data-driven, but testimony and documentation confirmed that there was no such data that existed and that the statement was drafted by the public information officer rather than policy staff for human resources. So the national context. In January 2025, there was a federal executive order dismantling federal DEI programs, created significant national debate on the future of DEI. And while several California cities reaffirmed their DEI commitments, Stockton became the only known California municipality to dissolve its execution-level DEI structure, to dissolve its executive-level DEI structure during this period. And here's just really a quick analysis or a quick summary of some of our witness testimonies. All the testimony below follows the required standard. There were direct quotes reflect verbatim statements from the witness, and summaries are clearly labeled as not placed in quotation marks. Our IT department our IT oversight and website content. So there was rumors that DEI content on all of our city websites and materials had been deleted. We talked to the director of IT and former PIO, Connie Cochran. Both witnesses testified that IT does not control the city website, and they gave us the name of the vendor. We reached out to the vendor and confirmed that there was no DEI information on the website removed. Policy rationale and public messaging. We talked to Deputy City Manager Chad Reed and others, and the summary of the testimony, Reed explained that no data or analysis supported transferring DEI functions into HR, and he stated that the PIO authored the public messaging characterizing the move as data-driven, not the Deputy City Management Department. We spoke to the Human Resources Director twice about Human Resources oversight and internal controls, and the summary there was that Ms. Rivas stated Human Resources did not recommend the DEI reassignment and was not involved in any organizational planning. She also reported that the interim city manager directed HR to waive minimum qualifications for an unrelated position, raising the internal control concern. So the minimum job requirements for the PIO were reduced in order for him to be given the job. He was given the job without competitive review. And fiscal compliance. Several witnesses indicated budgeted DEI funds later appeared in HR accounts without required council approval, suggesting potential charter section violation from 1907 in the charter. Now, what was really concerning and disappointing was the testimony of the DEI program director, who did come back and testify. She said, my role was to embed equity into every city department and ensure accountability to the council's resolution. She said, I was told the office was being absorbed into HR, but there was no written plan, no budget memo, no data analysis, and that was also corroborated by the HR director. She testified she was offered the lower level classification and informed that declining could result in her separation. The public messaging, the release said that it was a data-driven integration, but no one ever asked her for data. And when she talked about workplace treatment, she said, after I asked where the DEI funds went, I was removed from leadership meetings and email groups. When it came to fiscal observations, there was roughly $197,000 originally budgeted to the DEI office, later appeared under HR without council action. And under broader impact, Stockton was positioned to lead California inequity work, removing DEI from executive leadership, told our community inclusion is optional. And she also testified that the interim city manager said that DEI was a liability. Now, committee assessment, Nixon's testimony was also consistent, specific, and corroborated by all those that testified. Now, supporting testimony regarding concerns raised, Human Resources Director Rivas said that she confirmed Nixon felt like she was being treated unfairly, yet nobody did anything. Deputy City Manager Reed testified she was upset and confused. She asked how her position could be dissolved without council action, and he said he didn't have an answer. HR staff confirmed that she sought guidance on her rights. And so we concluded that Nixon raised concerns in good faith, and her reassignment proceeded despite warnings of potential procedural and ethical violations. Specifically, she testified, again, that the interim city manager called DEI a liability, which conflicted with council direction and a previously passed resolution, as I mentioned. And so now there was another matter that came up that I'll discuss here, the oversight and investigatory noncompliance. The audit committee issued a subpoena to former interim city manager Steve Colangelo pursuant to Charter 406, and the mayor declined to enforce the subpoena. This was the mayor's formal response, and there's an email here where she explained that she wasn't going to mandate him to testify. The thing that stood out just to me in the email was, after reviewing the matter and in consultation with the legal counsel, I do not believe it is in the best interest of the city of Stockton to compel the former interim city manager to appear under the circumstances presented. And she goes on to say, while I have the authority to enforce a subpoena, that authority must be exercised only when it clearly advances a legitimate, unbiased, and legally sound purpose for the city. She goes on to say, over the past several months, there have been significant public statements, accusations, and media activities surrounding this issue, much of which has originated from a member of the audit committee. I'm assuming it was me. So going on, following the notification from the mayor that she was denying our unanimous vote to request that the subpoena be enforced with Mr. Colangelo, I contacted the city attorney, who's no longer with the organization, after reviewing the matter, and I said, you know, can you please share with me what your legal advice was to the mayor to not pursue this subpoena? And she said, the city attorney confirmed that she was not the attorney consulted in the matter, leaving it unclear who advised the mayor. So I still don't know that. The committee analysis. So the refusal to enforce a valid subpoena and soliciting outside counsel recommendations for official city business obstructed legitimate oversight. It limited the committee's investigatory authority, and it set a concerning precedent for transparency and accountability. And I just think it's significant, given everything we talked about today with Compassionate City, that racism is a crisis, that we not do everything to understand why we would see DEI as a liability to our organization and to our public. So the findings of the fact, I'll go over this really quick. The 2022 DEI resolution intended to create a committee, not a DEI program director position. However, there was a position created. A DEI program director role was later administratively established, funded, and staffed without explicit direction. It's also important to note that there was testimony from staff that the funding for the DEI position was then reallocated to pay for the city manager and Lathrop's contract position. The DEI program director position was dissolved without council authorization. The data-driven justification was unsupported. Fiscal transfers occurred without required council approval, potentially violating the charter. The mayor's refusal to enforce the lawful subpoena obstructed committee oversight. Government Code 37106 states, if any person duly subpoenaed neglects to or refuses to obey a subpoena, or appearing refuses to testify or answer any questions which most of the legitimate legislative body decide proper and pertinent, the mayor shall report the fact to the judge of the Superior Court of the county. Again, vendor audits logs confirmed that there was no DEI content deleted from the city website. Failure to comply with GC 37106 to properly enforce the subpoena of Mr. Colangelo was a finding. An unauthorized use of outside legal counsel on official city business is understanding without having specific answers on who that person was. And that's covered under Stockton City Charter 1303, which designates the city attorney as legal advisor for the city and all officers, boards, and departments in matters related to city official duties. Stockton City Charter 1306 prohibits the retention or employment of outside legal counsel for city matters without approval of the city council. And Section 408 requires the mayor and the council members to conduct city business through charter officers and prohibits individual members from independently directing or managing city operations outside the charter structure. So the conclusion here is that we find substantial evidence of procedural irregularities, administrative outreach, inconsistent public communication, and misuse of public funds. While the 2022 resolution did not authorize the creation of the position, its dissolution, after being budgeted and administratively established, it was presented for council review and received approval. Mr. Colangelo, without council input or confirmation, made an independent decision to deconstruct the DEI oversight of the city and unilaterally reallocated the funding to a vendor contract outside the city of Stockton. And so the recommendations to the council that I came up with that, hopefully we can discuss and support, is that we need to rebuild and strengthen DEI governance in the city of Stockton. So we need to create the job description for DEI project director to work within the city manager's office alongside our city manager. Establish a citywide citizen commission on DEI to guide, monitor, and evaluate equity internal and external initiatives. And the work of this commission will be managed by the DEI program director with council oversight. Clarify investigative enforcement authority. Amend the charter to explicitly enable council majority authority to enforce the subpoena, so the sole responsibility doesn't rest with the mayor or put the mayor in a position where it's only on her or him if there's another mayor in the future. Include DEI fund transfers in the FY 2024-2025 independent audit Strengthen fiscal controls, require written council notice for fund transfers or expenditures under 100,000. I know currently there isn't a policy that is in place like that, and again, the council may feel like that's too much and may decide differently. Ensure accuracy of public statements. I mean, the last agenda item, there was a statement put out to the press that wasn't accurate or led us down a path that ended up in a situation we just discussed. What we're saying is that there should be only accuracy of public statements that go out, require documentation and factual verification for all public messaging on organizational changes. Require council approval to modify, disband, or in any other way change the position of the city council on diversity, equity, and inclusion as a vision, policy, or program, meaning we should be the body that makes the decision if we're going in another direction, not staff. And there should be a 60-day corrective action plan and giving the city manager, our current city manager and city attorney, ask them to come back and submit a corrective compliance plan within 60 days, and that would include a complete review of this matter and take any and all administrative actions to align our city policies and practices within our written rules. Improve hiring and transfer policy language, employment ambiguity as it relates to honesty policy, governance, and ensure proper employment practice. There was one testimony from our HR director that made it seem as if there was some room for some positions to be a little dishonest, or it was very gray, and I think we should be very clear on where we stand on that. And then again, I think direct the legislation committee to explore policy to address failures to comply with GC 37106. And if there are violations found in here, that we already have so many external investigations going on right now, we don't need to create another one, especially a taxpayer one. We can just amend those current investigations with this to give everybody a clear slate of any wrongdoing. So again, to be very clear, there were no findings that the mayor or any council member directed the interim city manager to take this action. But without being able to hear from him directly, I don't know what his thought was and what gave him the authority or the belief he had the authority to act alone in doing something so egregious. So that's it. Thank you.
So are there any questions for Vice Mayor, or can we go to public comment? Seeing no lights up, we'll move on to public comment.
Mary Elizabeth, please.
Mary Elizabeth, Stockton resident. The audit committee report summarized the testimony obtained and provided evidence that efforts were made to enforce subpoenas issued to consider the facts related to the action that led to the dissolution of the DEI program. Why not enforce the subpoenas issued for the former interim city manager? Public information that does not include evidence can create confusion. Statements without evidence is not an uncommon City of Stockton response. For example, a developer asked for another one-year extension because of real estate conditions without providing a description of how existing real estate conditions are impacting implementation of the approved development in a timely manner to provide needed housing units. It's easy for staff to use terms like data-driven without providing any reference data. I hope that these types of responses are viewed as unacceptable so as to not require a council investigation or a public comment that never gets clarification. I don't know if establishing a citywide resident commission to guide and monitor will help with implementation of general plan environmental justice considerations, but such a commission will provide one more opportunity for the residents of Stockton to learn about city operations. Thank you.
Alyssa Leyva.
I remember that former city manager Steve Colangelo was voted in by the Safer Stockton Coalition slate. And I was very sus of that, especially because of the coercive firing of former manager Harry Black. And if you're from Stockton, you remember that Colangelo is a Republican who has ran for many offices here. So the concern of him being very political and then him being coercively voted in is just very alarming. And then even as it relates to today and other investigations in Stockton, I'm a former organizer with Fix SUSD, and the former majority board with Stockton Unified that's being investigated by state agencies, by Attorney General Rob Bonta's office, they strategically got rid of DEI committees and transparency and all those other forms of committees during the pandemic. They got rid of Latinx community committees, disabled community committees, and other committees that represent DEI initiatives. So to me, 209 times slate is a part of the reprimanding and lack of progress for DEI communities in Stockton. I just ask that the new city attorney, if you can be accountable to the people and not be afraid to go to Rob Bonta and the feds if they coercively play with your job too. Thank you.
Yolanda Amen.
My last speech tonight. I remember when Coangelo was on the agenda to vote. I came up here. I warned you. I have dealings with him. I said I had no issue with him as a human. He's a great man, his wife. But I knew directly dealing with him what he did with my funds. And I'm a small nonprofit, and the money that he took, that took me about a good year to get it back. And it just fell on deaf ears. I don't know what he has over you, if he has something, but I view on this side and out there, what it looks like is that you're just protecting him. And I don't know what it is, but he really should be here when they're meeting to answer for what he did. And once again, it's about trust, transparency. You keep throwing that out there, but now with not bringing him in, what your job is to do to bring him in so he can be spoken to and speak for himself, you refuse to do it. So once again, we're sitting out here rubbing our heads going, what do you got to hide? What's going on? We knew from jump he wasn't good for Stockton, and now we're sitting in this mess now. So bring him in. Let him talk for himself. Maybe there's nothing. We'll never know.
That concludes public comment for this item.
Okay, bringing it back to council for discussion. I know that there are some recommendations from the committee. Or no, are those your recommendations?
Thank you for the clarification. So the committee asked me to author the report. The committee members that are here can speak to it if they wish, or if there's any concern with what's written here. All this testimony, everything in here came from direct testimony and the exhibits that were provided.
Okay, Councilmember Blower.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out to the public that this investigation was performed by the audit committee, and we put in hours and hours. I mean, I think we met maybe three, four times. Well, I mean, one of them was from 9 in the morning till like 5:30. I mean, we put in the work, we put in the time and the effort. And I want to point out to the public that we didn't get outside people that we had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars. The only cost was our time and staff time. And I will say it was very frustrating to put in that time and effort. And there were two main characters, two main people involved, which was the DEI manager who got her job downgraded and lost that and was sent to another position. She made the time. She came here and showed up. And then on the other hand, we had the interim city manager who did refuse to come. And that was very, very frustrating that we put in the time and the effort. And then when we did ask to have him subpoenaed, that the mayor was unwilling to do that. The big question mark I have, I'm curious who that outside counsel was that advised the mayor that she shouldn't do that. So those are definitely questions. I want to thank the vice mayor for doing the work of putting the final product together. And like I said, that I think is a very, very detailed report on what happened, at least as much as we could get with the testimony we were able to put together. And again, it was all, it did not come with a big price tag.
Councilmember Enriquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment. I just again want to thank the Vice Mayor and the Audit Committee for their hard work and really diving into the specifics of what the public should have and all the information, and we want to be as clear as possible. So again, I want to thank the Audit Committee, Councilwoman Padilla, Councilmember Blauer, and the Vice Mayor for their leadership and all their time and effort that goes into this. And as the Vice Mayor shared, as Chair of Ledge, and I told this to my colleagues at the last meeting of last year, I'm always open to explore any ordinance, a new policy idea that can go through Ledge. So I am open to the recommendations that he has shared so far that can go through Ledge. So again, just want to say thank you.
Before I go back to Vice Mayor, is there comments by anyone else? Okay, I will make a couple comments, or actual question, and make some comments. So, Mr. Ford, so you have, how many number of positions do you oversee for the city of Stockton?
FTEs, as it relates to on the books, is 1,876.
Okay, and of those, are there vacancies?
Yes.
And if you have an unfilled position and you see a need that has a job category already written up, can you fill that position? Can you fill any of your positions that are approved in the budget how you see fit?
Some.
I mean, not PD, obviously, but.
When the answer to that one is kind of hard because we do have positions within the city manager's office that are non-civil service. But there is a process in a civil service system, and so, yes, we do have to follow a process.
And do you have to go to council for that?
No.
Okay. And then a city attorney. Was there any that you know of? Was there any review of the questions that were asked?
Review of the questions asked during the audit committee? No, not,
Okay.
or at least not by our office.
Okay, and then looking at the responses, did the hearings follow the rules of a court of law?
No, it was an administrative hearing.
Okay, okay. So, but in a court of law, could I say, well, somebody feels a certain way?
There are stricter evidentiary requirements in a court of law for a trial. Is that what you mean with respect to hearsay? Yes, that is correct. Hearsay is generally admissible in an administrative hearing, but not in a trial.
So how do you confirm whether or not it is valid?
The audit committee stands in a quasi-judicial position. They essentially are the judges. So like a judge in a trial court, they stand in consideration of the witnesses before them to do a credibility assessment of both the evidence, including the factors of whether or not it is direct testimony or hearsay.
Okay. In terms of staff time, I will tell you, because I was here at City Hall, everybody on the second floor had the hearings on at their computer. Actually, we had deputy city managers sitting in the room over here watching the entire day, all days of the hearing. So it's staff time, and you have staff members making $200,000 a year that were not working at that time. I just want to point that out to say that I mean, that's still something. In terms of the subpoena, I spoke to a labor law attorney. We do not have a labor law attorney. We usually farm that out to somebody else. And so I asked them if it is somebody that's no longer employed by the city, what are the possibilities or what are the potential outcomes of requiring that person to come. And they said there could be exposure to whomever the agency is or the group is for possible litigation. So I just wanted to point that out. And then the other thing, so I have the budget here that we keep talking about, which is the city manager's special services fund, that it was a staff member who recommended money can be used out of this account, that this is the account. It's used for shredding, it's used for fingerprinting, it's used for employee appreciation, which was nearly, it was about $35,000, not $40,000. Advertising, lots on ads. So I just want to point that out. There is one single expenditure for DEI, and that was in the amount of $1,396.29. Otherwise, that is it for the 23-24 fiscal year and the 24-25 fiscal year. And then a couple more points that I want to get to. Dr. Templeton from the County Office of Ed was working and created the DEI strategy proposal for the city of Stockton. That was something that was being worked on, and it was specifically enhancing workforce diversity, which is something that the original resolution was going to, strengthening equitable hiring, advancing pay equity, strategic guidance for diversifying staff and outreach, and it goes on and on. But then the last thing, because I only have 1 minute left, I want to bring up is that, you know, this $100,000 and for the city manager of Lathrop. The vice mayor and myself were part of a conversation with the city manager from Lathrop and Mr. Coangelo. We were both part of that, where the city of Lathrop city manager was going to help with the tax sharing agreement, was going to recommend individuals to help us with our auditing and our accounting, and the vice mayor knew about this from the very beginning, and the amount of $100,000 was actually brought up, which then went to $99,000, which was then the $11,000 dollar amount that came up. So, Vice Mayor.
That was perfect timing. Okay, let me start with the end. Let's be very clear. Truth, trust, and transparency is not a campaign slogan. That's just how I live my life. I spill the tea for a living. There was a conversation with me, you, your political consultant, Steve Salvatore, and Steve Colangelo, because I was concerned that he wasn't qualified for the job. When I looked at his resume, when I met with him, when I talked to him, the sentences weren't complete enough to make me feel that I could sleep at night knowing he could run this city. So the conversation started with me asking Steve Salvatore to come and work for Stockton. He didn't want to leave Lathrop because he's overqualified. He has done a great job building Lathrop, but I thought he would be a phenomenal option. Again, not knowing the guy, right? So we had a meeting, and the conversation was that he would support as a contractor like we have any contractors, and there was a conversation about what that could cost. The thing that was different that happened in Stockton that didn't happen in Lathrop is he went back to his council in Lathrop and got approval. That conversation never came back here and got discussed with the council and approved by the council in transparency to the public. So I want to be very clear. I didn't see a contract. I didn't know what was signed. I didn't know that there was a payment. So there was a conversation about having some support to help this unqualified person be our city manager, and it is a regrettable decision that I supported at the time, and I regret that. That's the only thing on my voting record. The second thing is, I think it's inappropriate to ask our current city manager what he would do, and not call the other city manager who did it to testify, and so I don't even want to put him in that position. I do want to submit, just for the record here, a letter sent to Assemblywoman Rhodesia Ransom as part of the Joint Legislative Audit Committee on July 8th, 2025, where I requested a state audit. And the reason is because my integrity or the integrity of any individual council member can't be the subject of whether or not we do inquiries as it relates to ensuring public trust over finances or internal or external controls. What I think is happening is we as a council are still dealing with the history of an individual we all know was unqualified and that caused lots of challenges in our city that we're still dealing with, and it's still tearing this council apart. Because when you try to defend it, instead of just saying, hey, let it go through a process, let the findings be what it is, and let's keep moving, we get into a debate over whether or not it was right or wrong, and then we end up defending a person that didn't even have the respect for our taxpayers to come here and be accountable to the public. The other thing is that asking the city attorney if there was a request to review questions, the city charter or policy doesn't require us to get, as council members, as elected fiscal stewards to the taxpayers, approval by our city attorney, a review or inquiry over what questions we want to ask. I think she spoke to the authority. As far as staff watching the investigation, the whole building watching the investigation, that's poor management of the city if you're allowing all the staff in the whole organization to stop work to review that's not my responsibility. That's not the responsibility of the audit committee. That's the responsibility of city management. And I'm extremely entertaining in my day job, and I can't blame McDonald's if Ronald McDonald, and y'all know that joke, is watching my show during his hours of employment. As far as speaking to a law attorney, again, the charter talks specifically about authority on speaking to outside counsel. Again, it's something that I think that we have Tatiana, who is, I believe, city attorney. Is Tatiana our labor attorney here with the city?
No, our primary legal advisor for our HR department, I believe is what you're referencing, is our Deputy City Attorney, Mark Velasquez.
Okay, so we do have an attorney here who can speak to that. And again, not knowing what conversations happen with the attorney, this is why I think either an independent review to ensure that we rose to the standards set by our charter and our policies was followed, because the opportunity I didn't get during Wilding Out was to defend everything I did in this room. It had to go through an investigation. So I'm not saying that the city pay for that. I'm saying it go through a process or be attached to processes that are already happening in order to clear all of us, clear whatever happened with staff during this process. But again, I'll leave that with the council to decide. Thank you.
Councilwoman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move on for 2026 and end this conversation. So I would like to make a motion to move on for this. I will accept recommendations of 1 and 2. I don't want to take away any authority from the city manager's office, which I feel some of these could infringe on that. Our charter committee has not been accepted for 2026, so that's something that I could not allow. So I would like to make a motion to move on from this report, this agenda item, with the recommendations of item number 1 and 2.
Oh, okay, so we have a motion and a second.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So let me just, for the record, ask, are we asking, we're saying that we don't want to change the enforcement authority of the charter specific to enforcing subpoenas?
No, that's something that can be sent to the charter review committee.
Okay.
So it doesn't,
yeah,
if that's something that is needed down the road, currently we don't have a charter committee.
Yeah, so my question,
So
clarification.
if that is needed or asked for, then that can be done during that
So the
charter committee.
clarification is then, can we send this to the committee to decide if they want to act on it or not?
We don't have a committee currently. It's not approved.
Okay, when it gets approved?
I will answer it after the vote.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let me just go down the list for the matter of the record. I understand number 5, I'll take that off. Ensure accuracy of public statements. We don't want to ensure that we put out accurate statements?
All of us put out statements. I don't review your statements. You don't review my statements.
As a city, because when you put out statements that are inaccurate, it can cause a liability to the organization.
The PIO is in the city manager's office, and I entrust the city manager to make that decision.
Okay, so we're not going to move forward with ensuring accuracy of public statements. Okay.
No.
Number 7, require council approval to modify, disband, or in other ways change the position of the city council on DEI. We're saying that we don't want to require the council approval to disband, dismantle, or move in another direction from any established DEI policies.
Again, the DEI falls under the city manager's office, and I entrust our city manager to make that decision.
Actually, the resolution passed by the council in 2022 was a council
Committee.
resolution. It was a council passed resolution.
The resolution for a committee.
Okay, so we're going to give staff the flexibility to decide our commitment as an organization to DEI.
I'm saying that our city manager gives direction to the staff. So we're not giving direction to staff.
Okay, and are we saying then we don't want the staff, the city manager, to go back and come back with a corrective action plan in 60 days, which is what you're saying, that we should give him the authority? So the recommendation number 8 is actually giving him what you're saying to go back and work with our city attorney to come back with what the plan is. That gives them the authority you just mentioned.
I'm confused with regards to disband and corrective action plan, what you're trying to
basically,
accomplish.
what number 8 says is that we're giving staff direction within 60 days, come back with a corrective action plan, which means we give the city manager and the city attorney authority to do a full compliance check on all the things that we heard. Again, we heard that we gave jobs to people who were not, we changed their minimum qualifications for certain individuals, they didn't get competitive review. We're saying we're going to give the city manager and city attorney direction and support to go back and do a full review and come back with their assessment and whatever actions they feel appropriate. They may come back and say there's nothing.
I mean, if you want to beat a dead horse, I mean, it's like we're just going to get into it again.
Yeah,
I mean, this is
called leadership, not a dead horse. It's doing what you just said. We're going to give him.
I'm going to make a motion. I made my motion to accept items 1 and 2.
Okay, I would amend that motion to include number 8 and number 9. Let's back up. Number 9, number 10. That can be handled by any individual. As the chair of the audit committee, I will prefer that on my own. So is there a second to add number 8 to give staff direction to go back in?
So if it's a friendly amendment, the original motion holder has to accept the amendment, unless you're making a separate motion.
I'm making it. Okay, I'm making a second motion.
Okay. So for clarity, the second motion is to accept 1 and 2,
Yep.
8 and 10.
Oh, no.
Not 10.
No, not 10.
Not 10.
You know, I'll send the referral on my own.
Okay, so just 1 and 2 and 8.
Correct.
Okay.
Is she okay with the friendly amendment or not?
No, he said he'd make his own.
No, he didn't. I'm reviewing it right now.
Oh, I thought he said he.
I'm going to be cooperative, but I don't think it's necessary, so I want that on the record. So I will accept 8.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Okay, so we have a motion, and does the seconder still accept that amendment, or yes or no?
Yes.
You do? Okay, so council, then please vote. Motion passes 6-1 with Fugazi dissenting. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on then to the city manager's report.
No update, Mayor.
Okay, then we're going on to council comments. Thank you. Do I have any council members that wish, Vice Mayor?
I'll go first since nobody's running for the button. Well, first of all, we're getting out of here before 11, so that's great. It's possible. I want to comment on a couple things. I already spoke to the mayor. Hold on, excuse me. I already spoke to the mayor privately, but I do want to share this publicly. Last council meeting, I left early, and there were comments made by the mayor. You know, I think we all are going to have our moment. She had her moment in that meeting, and we kind of talked about it, but I want to refer specifically to a couple of things. One, I've never said that this council is responsible for the murders, the mass shooting and the murders of those children. And then I left the meeting early because I had attended Amari Peterson's funeral that day, and it was extremely emotionally exhausting. And I made it all the way through the meeting and did what I needed to do. But once I did what I needed to do, I had to get out of here for myself. So I do want to be very clear on that. But I did comment in an interview with a national publication that I do believe that every vote has to matter, and when we don't like each other or one mad about this or that, you know, we can't allow that, no matter how strong that emotion is, to get in the way of voting for things that are going to improve our city and the people who live here. And I was speaking specifically in that interview to us failing to pass the B-CHIP funding for our youth center when we know that there are kids who are in crisis, kids who need a place to go. We've heard it over and over and over from the public. And in fact, somebody handed me a newspaper that I was in here at City Hall back in March of 2014. Our city managers, Kurt Wilson, our police chief was Eric Jones, and the title was Stockton Leaders Address Crime, Bankruptcy, See a Positive Future, and a Shared Vision for a Brighter Tomorrow. And it's talking about doing more things for young people. And here we are 11 years later, still, or 12 years later, it's still stuck in the same place. And so when I say if we are committed to the lives of young people and investing in those and giving them resources to unlock their dreams and live out their full lives, that means that every vote has to matter. And people would have to live with their voting record if they believed that every vote up until that point had mattered. But I wanted to clarify that. You know, people come and talk about faith, and when I say come, the public, and there's two Bible verses that I always talk about. One is, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. And one thing I learned a long time ago is to be very, very clear about the intention of how I move and decisions that I make in my professional life. It's why I'm successful in this campaign that we all stood together on. That's why we all won. We were very strategic and very intentional. And in this job, I've been very intentional, except one time that I regret, and we already talked about that. I'm not going to keep talking about that. But when I say touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm, there are certain people, and I'll say I'm one of those people, that has a very strong faith. And I am in constant communication with God, who I believe directs everything I do, no matter what the delivery of my content looks like. It's always with the intention that's connected to a bigger purpose. And every single time that something has been intentionally inflicted upon me, whether it's the Wild and Out mess or any other mess that's forthcoming, because I'm sure there will be more in the future, there's always something that happens to the individuals that try to inflict that intentional harm. The other thing that I think about when I think about my faith is the conversation that people usually have around the devil, and they said Satan is the author of chaos. And when we look at all the chaos we continue to go through, I will leave it with everybody to question who Satan is in this scenario. Is it the former folks who aren't here anymore? Is it just Stockton politics? What is it that is getting in the way? Because I've always said I believe there is a spiritual warfare happening in this city, because when you leave the city, you emotionally feel different. You just emotionally feel different, and then when you come back, you feel something. And I'm hopeful that this council, especially with tonight's example, can continue to get into that thing that changes that. The mayor told me once that Stockton politics are a blood sport. And my question simply is, does it have to be? Does it have to be? I don't think it has to be a blood sport. I don't think it has to be. And I believe that this council, if it chooses to, can change that. It doesn't mean that we're always going to get along. It doesn't mean that we're always going to make everybody happy. But a blood sport is when you are actually after blood. And if that's the case, what's going to happen is somebody up here is going to end up in prison, because there's no way that any of us are going to stop doing something until that happens, because we are stuck with each other, whether we like it or not, for 3 more years. Now, there were some public comments that were made earlier. Somebody said something about the mayor removing me from office. Again, I was elected. I'm not hired by the mayor. I'm not managed by the mayor. So taking that dig at her or that dig at me is just unnecessary, because she can't remove me. She knows that. I can't remove her. We're not up here trying to remove each other. That's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to come here with a mandate every 2 weeks, sit here for however many hours it takes to get through the desire of the public. But I didn't know where that came from, but that's not happening. Oh, I think somebody asked her to remove me. She can't do that, even if she wanted to, and I can't do that if I wanted to. I want to say to Johnny, it's so ironic having our city manager in a city manager who worked his ass off all those years, was fired because they made up this story that he was stealing some tickets that he didn't steal. Then he was able to come back and finish his story and be here tonight while I was blamed for somehow taking some free things or $50,000, or I don't know, whatever madness that was. So the irony in that is so crazy. But what I want to say publicly to him, and I've said it before, and I ain't going to keep saying it all the time, and if I say it in email, you know already know. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate the things that you've done here. One of the things that I want to acknowledge that he's done that we have not talked about publicly is how he's diversifying our organization. I saw it in a press clipping. We didn't give him direction to do that. We didn't tell him that was an expectation. He went out and did the desire of our public to make sure that our city hall reflects our community. And I want to thank you for that, because that has been a conversation I've heard all the way back before we had our first black police chief. So thank you for that. And thank you for the meeting you had today with all of my commissioners and listening to the vision that we have for our district, the desire that we have to turn District 6 around. And I thank all of my colleagues who have been supporting us up until this point, because the mayor and I talked in the hallway, you know, sometimes people say we didn't do anything. We did a lot of work. There was just so much noise that I think it clouded a lot of the work, but we did do a lot of work in our first year. And now, some of us that are new, we're finding our footing. You know, the mass shooting did impact me in a way that made me really relook at how I was doing things and take my own responsibility on how I approach the work. And now my new thing is I go into Johnny's office, I rant. He asks me a really intelligent question, and then I walk out of there knowing what I need to do. And so I thank him again for that. Wilding Out is over. It is done. I do not want to talk about it anymore. No. And I'm not even saying that in terms of me. I'm a big boy. I can take anything anybody throw at me. I'm good. I've been in a fight with Nicki Minaj. If I can survive that, I can survive this council. But what I will say is I don't want to talk about Wilding Out anymore unless it's them coming back to the city. Because what that investigation did, it didn't change me. It didn't make me lose any money. It didn't, none of that. What it did was it scares away people from wanting to do business in our city. And that is what hurts us in the long run. People here who are interested in pursuing creative arts and want to run into that Queen Latifah that I ran into, who could change the future of their life, will not have that opportunity if we're scaring business away. That promoter who came here with Wildin' Out wanted to bring another music concert here, and even in losing $170,000, they were committed to trying to make the city lit for us, so that way we had something safe to do. What's important to note is that at that event with over 8,000 people, nobody got shot, nobody got stabbed, nobody got robbed. There was no significant crime that made people feel like they couldn't go to the next Wildin' Out, and that is what we need. And so when Councilman Enriquez and I talk, Enriquez with a Z, talk about how we make the Miracle Mile an entertainment district, or how we make downtown thrive where people can go from one bar to another, maybe keep their drink, make it fun, what you experience in Miami, how can we get there if we're running people away? And so with that, I don't want to talk about Wildin' Out anymore because people are reading social media and it is going to scare businesses away. With that said, FIFA has presented an interest to bring a major soccer team to Stockton. I've said that before, but I want to be clear. They just reached out and said not only do they want to do that, they want to build hotels, they want to build restaurants, and they want to build residential development. And so I've had a meeting with our city manager. I'm going to do an introductory meeting with them, and I'm going to pass that off for him to hopefully bring a major opportunity to our city. As far as public safety, I heard a conversation earlier about public safety concerns. Me and the city manager met yesterday for an hour and a half, 2 hours talking about public safety. We met with the commissioners today, and we have a meeting with the chief this week to talk specifically about public safety. And I'm going to connect with Councilmember Blauer, whose commission focuses on improving public safety. I've talked to Councilman Enriquez, and you know, we don't have to wait for the council to act on what we need to do to get out there. We're all elected, and we can all do that. And so there will be work coming to engage the public on that. I did go to Quick Quack Car Wash today. They are offering 12 free car washes. I think if you go there this week, you can get 12 free car washes as an elected, having just gone through an investigation and found not guilty. I told them I will not be accepting any free car washes, but I will tell all of you to go get your car wash for free, and please continue to share that. Here's something I'm going to say, and I'm going to just put this out here in this form, and I'm not going to even go and do it on social media. Toys for Joy was such a highly successful event to all of our volunteers, the community that came out. I know you all hated the line. We have already figured out a solution for next year. I want to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Blauer and Councilmember Enriquez, for coming out and volunteering. I did invite the entire council. Just so you know, I want to thank our city manager and his lovely wife for coming out, and our police department, our fire department, our city staff, Florence, who rolled up her sleeves and worked all day helping us. It was amazing. And I do want to thank our community partners who supported, and specifically Tyler Perry, because he didn't have to send that resource here, and I didn't even have to ask him for it, which was a good thing. I do want to say that, and I'm not going to single the person out, but a member of this council filed a complaint with the state that Tyler Perry made that donation. And I have to tell you, after kids getting murdered in a mass shooting, after those families coming to the Toys for Joy and getting toys and going home with smiles on their face, one of the family came straight from the funeral with their kids. We have to stop. We have to stop. I'm not going to put the person's name out there now, but I just want to say that, you know, we have to stop robbing this community of joy. Because when you think about those little kids in Sierra Vista or Conway or wherever, Kettleman, wherever, these kids just want something. And if we're going to take away Christmas toys, and we're going to be mad at a Tyler Perry who didn't have to send that money here. He could have sent that money to Africa. He could have sent that money anywhere he wanted to send it. He sent it here with no expectation other than gratitude that people were happy. And there are a lot of friends of mine who are interested in sewing into this city, but we have to get out of our own way. And, you know, to my colleagues, you know, I would love to see Toys for Joy be a whole citywide thing. I'd love to see our ballpark filled with toys in the whole city be able to come out to the ballpark. But we can't get there, and we can't get there if we keep doing stuff like this. And I will say this, nobody hurts me when you do this. It does not hurt me. It hurts the families. It hurts the community. So I just want to be clear. Any attack you take towards me, anything, it does not hurt me. It hurts the people in this community. That said, hopefully, you know, oh, one more thing. I did create a vlog. Why did I create a vlog, Jason Leon Locked? Because over the last several months, there's been so much going on that everybody outside of Stockton, too, asked me, what is happening in Stockton? What's happening here? And so as these clips roll out, it is a reflection of what we went through. But we're the authors of our own story. We get to create the narratives. We get to change the narratives. We get to, at any moment, decide that we want to tell a better story. And what better story would it be that we had so much chaos, but we overcame it, built a partnership, and our city thrived in spite of all the adversity that created this blood sport that we've been experiencing. So again, I want to thank the council for a great meeting today. And again, to Councilmember Enriquez for your courage to be able to step up and do something as significant as you did today. I hope you're proud of all of your work, because I see you working your butt off tirelessly every day. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm sorry that I have to bring this topic up, but as we move forward from the in and out from the wild and out investigation, I want to be clear about my position and the standard I expect from myself as well as my colleagues. You know, it is very imperative that we do not involve ourselves when it comes to any operations of the city manager, city staff, or individuals or entities doing business within the city. You know, when there is any potential of conflict of interest, real or even perceived, we must remove ourselves immediately. So by doing so, we protect the integrity of this council, and we need to adhere to the city charter and the law and avoid unnecessary use of taxpayer time and money, because it is our responsibility for governance and oversight, not management. So respecting those boundaries, it's essential to maintaining public trust. So looking ahead to 2026, I want to say that I am very thankful for the continuation of the Ad hoc Homeless Committee. Our first meeting will be January 21st at 4 p.m., which is a Wednesday, which is not typical of our meetings. We had to move it to a Wednesday this month, but it will be the first Thursday of every month at 4 p.m., and we will be diving into the proposed Safe Grounds initiative. I have been educating myself with regards to that, and I am very thankful for city manager and city staff. We have a trip planned February 6th to Phoenix to visit their safe outdoor site to gain more education, more knowledge, insight about how they're operating, what's working, what's not working, and what may be done here in the city. In my first term, I made it my determination to provide a safe and structured space for Trinity Parkway and bring real enforcement and accountability to an area called White Slough. After 14 years, that area had been cleaned and cleared, and I'm so thankful to our Stockton PD. They're going by on a regular basis, making sure the area that we cleared is clean. No one has set up camp. No one has encroached on that property. We were able to put up signage, and with the request of my constituents, since now they are walking, they feel safe, they're using the levee, they're riding their bikes. They had asked for dog waste containers, so there has been dog waste containers put on the levee, and kids can feel safe going to school, and people are enjoying the area. And now they want me to put more signage to add how many miles to March Lane or how many miles to Thornton Road. And when you think about it, those little things really make a difference to a community and to the residents that are living in that area. So I will be looking into that request. So in regards to the area in which we weren't able to clear, the Stockton Police Department is working with county partners because it's only accessible by water. And so that's a huge financial hurdle. It involves a lot. So police department is handling that situation. But again, there is signage for no trespassing, no putting up tents and taking over the area. So again, today residents are able to walk, run, enjoy the levee again, and most importantly, feel safe. So I feel that is what accountability and action looks like. This year, I'm going to continue to be aggressive about investing in homelessness solutions by providing humanity, services, and dignity while also enforcing the law, because we can and we must do both. So I am also excited to share that Ursula Meyer Community Center will be open soon. That is located on Murata and on the corner of Murata and West Lane. And it's an area where students can study, they can go use the internet service while also doing athletic activities. There's a little mini gym that they can utilize. There's a locker room, there's showers. There's a big gym that can facilitate 4 basketball games at the same time. So we will be able to have city intramural sports there. It's just a well thought out community center. I don't know if anybody were able to view it over the holiday, but city and staff really did a great job about thinking about our families, about our community, and about our youth there. Which brings me to us talking a lot about investing in our youth. And this year, I plan to take real action with that. So in partnership with the Stockton Unified School District and city partners, I am going to be hosting a youth motivational event at the end of February. There will be more information to come as we come closer to that date. You know, I don't claim to have all the answers. I'm just as human as you are. However, I strongly have a passion for this city and for the people of this city. And the work that I do, I truly enjoy it. I try to do my best for my constituents. I try to do my best when I'm making decisions for the city, and I really take to heart everybody's opinion. And I can really honestly say the people honestly, really, truly do come first when I make my decisions. You know, since the day I was sworn in, I've been committed, I've been available, I've been trustworthy, and I am going to continue to give my very best effort with this position. I am willing to be collaborative when necessary. However, you know, I have to stay true to myself as well and stay true to the values that I believe in. Yes, Vice Mayor did invite me to his Toys for Joy, and I made the sound decision not to attend, not because I didn't want to. I love seeing families coming. I love seeing the kids' face when they're super excited with all the things that are going on there. Yes, I would like to see it a citywide event, but it was made clear that a decision I made during the year of 2025 that I wouldn't be welcomed. So I just abided by that request. And again, like I said, I am going to be true to myself and true to my values, and most importantly, true to the people of Stockton. So with that, I'll end, and I hope everybody has a safe and good weekend. Thank you.
Councilmember Villapudua.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to say it's good to be back. Want to wish everyone a happy New Year. But just want to start a few things. I want to thank the city manager for what you do. Thank you for all the meetings and all the things that you have helped me out accomplish in my district. As well as I want to thank the chief of police and the fire chief as well, and as well as all the my constituents in my district. Tomorrow I have my every month I have 3 o'clock my Stribley community meetings from 3 to 4. Anyone's welcome to come to talk about anything in the district and the area. Thursday, I have my office hours that I have every month as well, in person, from 4 to 5. You could just call the city, talk to Florence, and request you want to be on my city office hours. As well as today, I attended the 20-year anniversary for Masaki's sushi restaurant. That's a milestone for someone to be in business for that long, going through everything through COVID. And I've been there, have had meetings. I've watched the football games. They have a great staff. The owners just have a great story and how they overcame a lot of things and being in business. You know, that's the American dream and for what they're doing. So, you know, having that agenda item that Councilman Enriquez brought up you know, it brought a lot of attention, and you know, I'm just glad that it happened tonight, and it was a great win for our community and overall just everyone. You know, and I myself, that day, I didn't attend Vice Mayor's event. I had my own event that day that I always have, giving out toys to the for the children's home. So, you know, it's unfortunate some of these kids don't have you know, any parents, so I do that every year. So that was the reason. On top of that, I got a lot of things that we're gonna, you know, we gotta go big every year. And this year there's some big projects that are coming in. As you know, Columbus Park is, it's on its way this spring. I already posted the other day where we're at, up to date. The sod's not in, but the playgrounds come together, the basketball, the bathroom, the barbecue area. I mean, it's just going to be a big thing for our city, period. So I'll be posting updates until the day we have a ribbon cutting. So I'm really looking forward to that. I just want to thank the mayor and all of my colleagues as well supporting that. And as well, I'll be advocating still for Sousa Park, which I have as well. There's meetings there every month. I'm not going to give up on their pool. I mean, that's just an area that's been neglected for many years. It has a beautiful pool that I'm not going to take a no that cover it up with cement and just put a splashing pad. I mean, that area has a school right next to it, a community center that right next to it. It just, that community needs it. There shouldn't be a reason for them to go to another area when there's already a pool there. So I will be talking to the city manager to discuss some plans as well as my colleagues. So that will be a big win for our community. And then today was just a lot of great wins, you know, especially the one that Councilman Enriquez brought up. So I feel like, you know, we're heading in the right direction, and looking forward to, you know, working with my colleagues. And let's make this a beautiful year. There's a lot of great things that we don't talk about, you know, and there is going to be bigger wins. So stay tuned. As well as I just want to highlight that let's celebrate and honor Martin Luther King, the legacy of a man that was taken away early from us, and what he was, his dream, what he was doing, with his accomplishments. You know, he's much needed right now. So I just want to make sure that we honor him that day, and hopefully that we're doing something for the city to make sure that we honor that the day of Martin Luther King. So that being said, I just want to wish everyone a great weekend. Thank you to all my colleagues for all the great wins, and come back in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Hey, Councilmember Enriquez.
Yes, it will be 15 minutes, please. There's a lot of notes that I have, so hey, you're all prepared. We are going to start off with infrastructure. I want to thank Cal Water Service for their support. We had a pipe burst on the southern part of Oxford Circle, and I only saw it because I was actually driving from Yosemite Street Village back home, and all of a sudden there was this puddle of water, the flood bursting, and I pulled over with my notebook, and I was talking to the Cal Water staff, and they had said a pipe burst, and I was able to, again, work with them. I want to thank our staff. We were on it. I emailed the city manager that night, and we were able to get a follow-up summary from Cal Water. I reported a pothole next to Victory Park as I was driving, so I pulled over, took a photo using my Ask Stockton app. Reminder, please download it if you haven't already. We got a pothole fixed near the corner of Walnut Street and North Wilson Way. That's nearby the community walk that Councilmember Villaputua, Supervisor Canepa, and Trustee Colon did a couple weeks ago in that area on the eastern part of my district. We got 2 potholes fixed right by the U.S. Post Office on Pacific Avenue, right on the Miracle Mile. I want to thank Chad and his staff, and of course our city manager. We had a Oxford Circle community meeting, which was part 1. And we had a resident that had shared that there was exposed rebar around Oxford Circle. And the very next day, we were able to get that all cleared out for the safety, especially kids, dogs, people that walk in that vicinity. It was cleared right away. So I want to thank the staff for their quick action on that. Again, really excited. Last month, I gave some comment. I know this council voted on the left turn signal on Harding Way as you enter Pacific Avenue. All last year, as I've shared on social media throughout the year, I've kept my constituents updated about that project. Again, it borders 2 districts, but we know that it's a lived experience that those 2 districts still experience it, and anyone that goes into the mile still want to be able to feel safe. And we had a constituent, I think the first public comment of the night, was expressing that. And actually last week there was a car accident. A car rammed straight into that building on the corner of Harding and Pacific. So again, it's timely that we get this fixed. So I want to thank my colleagues for making this a priority. And I know this has been ongoing for years. So I want to thank our staff for their ongoing efforts to find and fight for money for our city. Thank our staff again. The fencing was put up last month alongside the bridge on North El Dorado going north right before you get to March Lane. We've had some folks online say, well, that doesn't really do anything, but it does, because if you're walking along that sidewalk, it's still a safety measure and it's still a barrier if you're walking. We had that whole strip that was exposed. So let's say you're walking with your child, and let's say someone trips and they trip onto the road, that is a safety hazard. So that was a priority that we got fixed. So these little wins do go a long way. And I want to remind folks, you know, when I post, and you all know I post a lot of before-after infrastructure, some folks might say, well, what about this street? And what about that corner? Did you let me know about it? Did you utilize Ask Stockton? Can we celebrate the wins of the community that have also voiced their opinions about an infrastructure or a pothole or a street sign or graffiti? So I just want to say, let's celebrate the wins. Let's celebrate the work that people spoke up and utilized the app, or emailed council members or the mayor to say, hey, this is an issue in my community and I really care about it. So I want us to try a little bit better to just be more empathetic and just celebrate the wins we do for our community, because for that neighbor, that's probably the biggest highlight of their week or their month. Also, the XLU restrooms, again, thank our staff for their advocacy for years of making this happen. We are having new XLU restrooms coming to Oak Park and Victory Park by the end of the month. And then once I have the dates officially set, I will be sure to share it. I've already shared videos online and keeping my constituents updated. But again, they're 2 very popular parks in my district. So again, I want to thank our staff for their efforts, as well as past council leadership for their advocacy on making that a reality. I want to thank one of my commissioners, Julie, for letting me know about a tree stump that her neighbor had for quite some time. It was on the list. We were able to get some updates. And I took a before-after photo of that tree stump that was removed on Walnut Street. And then also a resident that I met at a small business on the Miracle Mile told me about a gap, not really a pothole, but there's a curb that curves around that area, that corner, and it was a huge gap, so people were always tripping and falling, and we were able to get that covered up. So again, I ran into her at a restaurant. She told me about it, took my notes, and got it in the Ask Stockton app with her. I want to also just do a general recap for 2025. It's coming this week, and maybe or maybe not 40 or 50 plus potholes were fixed in District 4 this last year, but you have to wait for the accurate number later this week. But there'll be more updates in terms of all the constituent cases, the potholes, the graffiti, infrastructure projects, all that will be laid out that we did in District 4 coming later this week. In terms of events, it's been quite some time since this council met. But I want to thank Councilmember Blauer. We did the inaugural Space Force flag raising outside of City Hall on December 18th, which was also the day of my birthday, which was funny enough. So it was great to be there. And it was a small and mighty team, thanks to the city clerk and her team for being there with us. And we hope next year we'll have more people join us for the Space Force flag raising. I want to thank the Vice Mayor for a great Toys for Joy event. My mom and I were there all day as well with our community and our advocates supporting and volunteering all day. And then also, I want to thank our San Joaquin Building Trades Council. They had their MC3 graduation, and it was their jail cohort. So we went to the county jail, and we were able to honor, I believe, 6 or 7 graduates that are about to get out of jail, and now that they're trained in an apprenticeship. And it was just a great win to show, again, we're trying to lower recidivism rates. So the fact that that was such an accomplishment, and their families were there. So it was just really touching to see, and just their commitment of what they want to do to better their families and themselves. Let's see, last Thursday, I also attended a vigil for Renee Good from Minneapolis. I want to thank our advocates. I randomly saw it on Facebook, and it was at Victory Park in my district, so I decided to show up. And then the next day, I had another community member tell me of a Stockton anti-violence rally organized outside of City Hall the next day. So I was able to do back-to-back events. I want to thank Dr. Daly from Pacific. She is a proud UOP alumna. She's now the president of the Black UOP Alumni Club. And I came out to campus this past Friday to give certificates of recognition for the incoming leadership of the UOP alumni. And I also gave them kudos that they are the most active alumni club at Pacific. And I also thanked the Divine Nine organizations, if you're familiar, are our Black letter Greek organizations. And I told them that when I was a student, I have a special spot in my heart for Delta Sigma Theta, because they protected me while I was pledging for my Latino fraternity, while the actives were finding me in the library. The Deltas hid me under the desk while the guys were trying to find me. So shout out to my Deltas, I love you. This past weekend, I spoke at Angel Cruz Park. I joined the advocates to share highlights of the ordinance going into effect on Friday. Again, we want to prepare, and as I shared to the public and my colleagues, I am committed to educating as much as I can this entire year as we prepare. And then also, I want to thank our staff. We have, I have here with me the updated street vendor application that has the details of the business license, the health permit, the seller's permit, et cetera, as well as the fees, which is $138 on the city side. This includes the $60 park maintenance fee. And then I also appreciate the fact that it also has the list of parks and facilities. That way you have the full list of all the parks and facilities here of Stockton. So that way, if you are going to street vend in any of these locations, now you have the context and where that's at. So, and also later this week, working with our city manager, we'll have this updated on our website. So section dedicated for our street vendors. So again, the more education, as many languages as possible, and again, going there on site to all the parks and to talking to as many street vendors. So I hope by the end of the year, we can really capture some good data and see how many licenses have been processed and they've gone through the system. So I appreciate everyone for their patience, and I'll be sure to keep people updated. Coming up, I'm sure some of my colleagues will share, we have Restaurant Week starting January 16th through the 25th. You can go to StocktonRestaurantWeek.com to learn more of all the participating restaurants throughout Stockton. And shout out to Visit Stockton for their leadership on organizing this for our city. So again, please come out, let's support our businesses, let's have a good time, and of course, a great meal. I have a ribbon cutting this Friday on the Mile for a new barber shop at 4 p.m. If you'd like to join me, it will be at 235 Doris Place, and right next to House of Shaw. My first Mornings with Mario, I think this is now my 14th Mornings with Mario, this Saturday, January 17th at 10 a.m. at Poppy Coffee on the Mile, with special guest, City Manager Ford. I think I got this on your calendar the second week of December. I made sure I found his assistant and said, put this on his calendar. I posted the graphic, as one of my constituents shared, on my social media on January 3rd, and every 3 days I've been resharing that event. So again, just to show to the public my excitement and engagement that I have and good relationship that I have with the city manager and that I will continue to have. So again, I want the public to know, for the record, the ongoing promotion that I've been doing to engage our top city leaders. Let's see, what else? Oh, I got 4 minutes. Okay, well, we're going to keep going. No, actually, I do have a lot of notes. I don't know if I'm going to make it. All right,
Just a quick reminder, we do have to adjourn at 11.
Oh, yes, no, you're right. Cleveland School Remembers. They have an event this Saturday at Oak Park at 2 p.m. I know myself and SUSD trustee will be speaking at this event. Oxford Circle Meeting Part 2 will happen Wednesday, January 28th at 6 p.m. at Valley Brew. This is the continuation of what happened the first meeting, and we want to let people know and be aware of what's happening in that area. And then, let's see, January 22nd, I'll be in Sacramento. I will be representing Stockton on my appointment for the League of California Cities Policy Committee on Transportation, Communication, and Public Works. And then in terms of policy and ledge, I know I mentioned this last time to my colleagues, but again, if there's anything that you all want me to, this committee to look into, please send it my way. We have a packed agenda already at the end of the month for our first ledge committee meeting, which will be on Monday, January 26th at 3 p.m. here in these chambers. For folks who have asked, I have sent numerous letters to the ICE facility asking for an on-site visit, and later this week I will post the new letter. That way the public can see of how much I've been asking to visit that site, which is in my district. I know Congressman Harder sent a letter early last month as well. The wooden pallet ordinance will finally be coming to a council vote at our next meeting. I want to thank my ledge committee members for their advocacy and also for Chief Carr to getting this drafted and presented to us. And just to close out, just general notes, Barkleyville Dog Park will be closed the 16th and 19th from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. for tree work. We, Councilmember Villapudua and I will continue to assess the smoke shops and continue to keep each other updated as we have in the border districts on the southeastern part of my district on Wilson Way. And then a fun highlight, if you haven't noticed, we have a mural on the mile coming. Fantastic Four is being laid out by one of some of our great community advocates alongside Al's Comics. As if you didn't know, Stockton is officially the birthplace of the Fantastic Four. And if Pedro Pascal wants to come here, I will happily welcome him to the city of Stockton and show him the mural. Other than that, let's see, last thing. I want to congratulate my new planning commissioner, Robert Oakes, for being voted in last month. And then also we just reappointed Philip Herrera for his new term on the Community Development Committee, as he has been serving as chair. And then also, please, for my new all my commissioners, be on the lookout for an email later this week as we prepare for 2026. And again, overall, I just want to thank all my colleagues for the advocacy and for their support on the Compassionate City Ordinance. I will continue my town halls. We have a whole slew of policy issues we're tackling in District 4. And as always, if any of my colleagues want to join, please let me know. And with that, I will share everything else online, but thank you all and have a good night.
Councilman Blower.
Thank you. I tend to be optimistic. I try to be. And I will say I'm very optimistic about City Manager Johnny Ford. I'm getting tired, excuse me. Johnny Ford, I think, I truly have optimism that he's going to help this group hopefully have some cohesion and get together and you know, looking forward, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to him speaking to my Rotary Club tomorrow. So I'm sure you're going to do a great job, and I look forward to doing your introduction at that. That being said, I have to say I was very disappointed to see that we're starting yet another year having to accept resignation of one of our charter officers. I'm very disappointed that several of my colleagues felt compelled to put a dismissal on the agenda. And I just have to say, I mean, I've got to get this off my chest. Reading the article today that a couple of them tried to conceal who they were, I would say as a general rule of thumb, if you feel like you got to hide something, maybe you probably shouldn't do that. So I just want to take this opportunity to just thank Lori Asuncion for her 18 years of service to our city. I think she was an excellent city attorney, and I feel like with all the other stuff that went on, that kind of got overshadowed, that we lost our city attorney at this meeting tonight. And I'm very disappointed in that, and I just wish her well. I think she did a great job for us. I think she was honest. I think she was hardworking. I think she was ethical. And again, I'm going to miss her. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to point that out. I'm really glad that we have Wild and Out behind us. I think it's good that we finally wrap that up. I hope my colleagues, I'm not one to say I told you so, but you know, it seemed like we spent a lot of money that could have been used for potholes and fixing trees and fixing park equipment and other things. And so again, I'm glad that's behind us, and hopefully we can turn the page on that and kind of learn from that. Let's see, coming up, next Wednesday on the 21st, we'll have my community office hour, so that will be from 5 to 6 p.m. That will be at Octavio's Restaurant. And so I do encourage my constituents, if people have questions or concerns, things that they would like to discuss with me, please feel free to show up that. Or as always, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of on the phone or through email. So with that, I know we're 5 minutes away, so I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to let the public know about Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. It is 2 days. It is on Sunday evening, starting at 5 o'clock, as well as on Monday. They will start with a walk, but you register between 9 and 9:45, and then they'll have the walk from 10 to 11. And then there is going to be youth programs from 12 to 4 with music, raffles, and vendors. Yes, love Restaurant Week. I'm a 10 for 10er. I've been doing it for almost all 16 years that they've been doing it. For those of you that missed it, there's an animal spay and neuter item that we approved tonight that is going to neuter more than 600 dogs and cats. It is paid for. You will have 3 days. The cost is less than $183 to the city for this event, so I'm looking forward to people being able to get their animals spayed and neutered so we can control the pet population. Those of you that will be in this area downtown on Fremont Street on Friday and Saturday, just know there's going to be a lot of traffic and a lot of activity happening downtown this weekend. I want to congratulate Sunny Dollywall, who was just named chair of the Board of Supervisors, and I want to thank Supervisor Canepa for his work as the outgoing chair. I've got so many things on here. We had a city employee that was killed in December after Christmas. His funeral was today, and I was speaking to some of the family and people there, and this one woman in particular, Ashley, she talked to me about how she moved out of Stockton, and she loved being in Stockton, but she said the lure of gangs, her son was enamored with gangs and wanted to be in a gang, even though no one in their family was, but he was enamored by it, and she said, I gotta get him out of Stockton. A couple of other things. First of all, the city manager is our employee. We are not his employee. There is Section 408 of the city charter, which is our law, that states that he has authority over his employees, and we have authority over him. So he's not our boss. He does not create policy or oversight for council. We have to police ourselves. We have to hold each other accountable. And so just to make that perfectly clear. And then the other thing, talking about a closed session, we do have something called the Brown Act that we must abide by. So the appearance, there was comments about the appearance, and there was also wording that was said. The only thing that was on there was a performance evaluation. That was it. Whether there was something else mentioned by somebody up here, that would have been inappropriate because it was only regarding that item, and that's the only thing that we could talk about while we were in that setting, because the rules of the Brown Act are very, very clear. And lastly, I would say, I hope that people enjoy the rest of their week and weekend, and with that, meeting adjourned.
don't try to stop me. Don't stop to mock me. 'Cause I'll be cutting on through. Now there's been enough said that I didn't know what was ahead. But I ended up dead on El Dorado Boulevard. On El Dorado Boulevard. But don't try to stop me. Don't stop to mock me. 'Cause I'll be